Today should be a holiday. We just had a real football game to watch now. Maybe this means we need to be drafting Amir Abdullah over Josh Jacobs. I don't know. You can have your takeaways. I'm obviously joking with that, but a real takeaway is, what the hell is Josh Jacobs doing out there? It's August 4th. Please keep Josh Jacobs on the bench. Put him in bubble wrap. Why is he playing a real football game, taking real hits for nothing? But let's go ahead. Let's hop into a real money fantasy football draft. I am so damn excited about the season. And of course, y'all know we are drafting real money fantasy football teams every single day here on Underdog Fantasy. This is our second live stream that we fired up because the first stream we were having some Wi-Fi difficulties, but no worries. Those should be sorted out. At least I'm praying those are sorted out. And what I need to ask from you is so important. We had that first live stream going. We had like 400 people watching. And now YouTube's going to kill us in the algorithm for having to restart and make another. Go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, make sure you go and draft with me, which I'm doing these drafts every single night over there on Underdog Fantasy. You can find a link to draft on Underdog Fantasy in the description of the video. You can find it in the live chat, find it in the comment section. And when you go and sign up for Underdog Fantasy to get in a draft with me, make sure you use promo code FLOCK, because when you use promo code FLOCK, they are going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You will have access to our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. Literally with just a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy, you're going to get nearly 300 pages of our updated draft guide after the Julio Jones signing, after the Deshaun Watson news, and after the sad Patrick news. But we pulled pick 12 here, and we are going to have a decision, ladies and gentlemen. Are we taking Sutton at the 3-4 turn? Are we taking Cortland Sutton? Probably not. But now that Patrick is no longer in Denver, it's going to be tough. Now, what's interesting is to see Cooper Kupp before Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp before Christian McCaffrey. I can't do it. I understand the thought process, and you're saying, oh, I can get Javonte Williams. I can get, Leonard Fournette at the 2-3 turn. The wide receivers there aren't going to be as appealing. Guys like A.J. Brown, T. Higgins. It's Cooper Kupp over Jonathan. I can't do it. Maybe I'm still operating with a lizard brain. Maybe I'm not fully formed. Maybe I am not intelligent enough. But give me Jonathan Taylor, give me Christian McCaffrey over every wide receiver this year. Derrick Henry before Jamar Chase. I am personally not going to do that either. I am going to take Chase over Derrick Henry in this format on Underdog Fantasy. You have to start 3 wide receivers every single week. So I do think we need to slide these wide receivers up draft boards. Now we have Austin Eckler going to pick 7. Of course, none of these guys were going to make it to us at the 1-2 turn. Like, we would be fooling ourselves if we thought that we were going to get an Austin Eckler, thought we were going to get a Dalvin Cook. So let's just watch these players get picked off one by one and try to make some adjustments with our 12th and 13th round selections. Now, Colin on the clock, he goes Najee Harris. So based on the people that we are drafting with, based on us seeing Cooper Kupp go at the 101, and also I know we have a ton of members of the flock here, I am worried that wide receivers are going to get pushed up this draft board. And when you have to start 3 wide receivers, I think that we inherently are incentivized to go wide receiver early, because trust me on this, I've done over 400 real money fantasy football drafts on Underdog. You are going to get some ridiculous running back values. I took Antonio Gibson in the 8th round today. So we are going to take Travis Kelsey. We're going to take CeeDee Lamb, the last receiver left in Dallas, now that we have Gallup injured, James Washington injured, Cedric Wilson in Miami, and of course, Amari Cooper in Cleveland. Let's go ahead. Let's go. Tight end, receiver. Hope that we get some running back value on the way back around. We have to go through and complete this draft that we started on the live stream earlier on our phone. Hopefully we don't auto pick anybody we don't want. But Deebo Samuel goes at 16 to Derek. So it's official. Deebo Samuel's now going before Mike Evans in fantasy football drafts. This is what we thought was going to happen the second you had the Deebo Samuel extension based on the numbers behind that deal, as well as the fact that Julio Jones, of course, signed with Mike Evans. If you're looking at my rankings, I still think we may have Mike Evans over Deebo Samuel. I definitely had to move Mike Evans behind CeeDee Lamb, though. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be the last wide receiver up there in that tier. I think you have a clear tier of 6 guys, and then you do see a significant fall off. Okay. Now, Ben says, do you like Travis Kelsey a lot? Yeah, guys, I love this Kansas City Chiefs passing offense this upcoming season. At these ADPs that you're getting, I mean, Kelsey is a reasonable price. Remember where Kelsey was going last year in these drafts? Kelsey was a mid-first round pick. And I understand they miss out on Tyreek Hill, and a lot of people are thinking that's going to make Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs offense collapse overall. What I would bring to the table is the fact that, yes, they're downgrading. If you think that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to play the Tyreek role, that is horrendous. But at the same time, they're replacing Demarcus Robinson and they're replacing Byron Pringle with Juju Smith-Schuster and Sky Moore. I think that you are going to have significantly more depth at the wide receiver position in Kansas City. I think if you're looking at the passing volume and the overall passing statistics that you had with Patrick Mahomes last year, I'm expecting them to be comparable this upcoming season. I don't think this offense is going to take some massive step back. And for that reason, hell, I like Kelsey's ADP. I love Mahomes when you're getting him in the middle of the 5th round, slowly but surely becoming my most drafted player. I even don't mind Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I don't mind Sky Moore. I really like Clyde Edwards-Helaire when you're getting him in the 8th. The only player that I'm not in love with his price point in Kansas City is going to be 5th round Juju Smith-Schuster. 5th round Juju does seem a little bit aggressive because it's hard to imagine that he's guaranteed to be the wide receiver 1 there in Kansas City. And at that price point, kind of has to be to return value. Okay. So let's go ahead, queue up some other guys in that other draft we are currently in. C. Wagner out here. We have a ton of people out in this chat. Nick says, can we get a $5 draft going next? Yes, sir. I'll get another $5 draft going on Underdog so y'all can join. And if y'all don't know, we do this every single night on the live stream. Every single night. I'm going to live stream every single night for probably the next 200 nights. So if you have not done so already, you got to go down there, subscribe to the channel. And if you are just now joining us, we had another live stream going. We had some Wi-Fi difficulties, so we had to restart the stream. We had almost 200 likes on the other stream. So if you could please go down there, drop a like on this video. It will help us out so much. Please go down there and drop a like. We have Kyle Pitts going 31. Javonte Williams makes it to pick 30. Nick Chubb makes it to pick 28. It's not too much of a surprise. I shouldn't act too shocked to see Javonte Williams fall this far. You had the report coming out that Javonte was going to split with Melvin Gordon, something we were always expecting to happen. And I ended up getting Javonte Williams in another draft on Underdog earlier today in the 3rd round after taking Justin Jefferson at pick 4. Then we got Deandre Swift at 21 and then Javonte Williams at 28. But let's move this over. This is why we decided to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb as well as Travis Kelsey in the last round, because here the values are going to be running back. I mean, I really like the price point of James Conner here at pick 36. I'll say Travis Etienne was a running back I thought was a must draft guy. I was actively fading late 1st round, early 2nd round Deandre Swift so we could get Travis Etienne here at the 3-4 turn. But that was with the assumption that you were going to have some issues. You were going to probably see James Conner miss a large chunk of this upcoming season with the torn Achilles. Now that's no longer going to happen. It's so much harder. And I repeat, so much harder for me to draft Travis Etienne at 37. What do we want? Let's take Hollywood. We're going to take Hollywood Brown. We will get some correlation in this Arizona Cardinals passing game. We'll be able to go through. We'll be able to take Kyler Murray there at the very end of the 5th round, maybe the beginning of the 6th. It doesn't matter if we take him pick 60, 61. It's all the same. We'll get the double stack with the Arizona Cardinals. We're essentially betting that we're going to be able to find running back value a little bit later on, like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 8th. I'm unsure if that's going to be the exact guy, but we're going to bet on running back value later on. Let's take the wide receiver with Hollywood. I feel like we are in a complete dead zone here. Ian says, can I ask why you were so low on Austin Eckler? If you're looking at Austin Eckler, it's not that I'm low. I mean, I have Austin Eckler as our running back 3 in fantasy. In a full PPR format, I have Eckler at 3. I haven't drafted a ton of them just based on how these drafts fall. I really prefer grabbing the elite level wide receiver like Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. But if we're going to go ahead and make an argument against Austin Eckler this upcoming season, like I said, He's my running back 3 in fantasy. Can you say that I'm that low on him? Let's go through and let's look at Eckler's touchdowns by season. His rookie year, 5 touchdowns. His second year, 6 touchdowns. His third year, and this is when Eckler's already broken out, okay? Don't think this is Eckler, a backup running back. No, he's broken out. In 2019, 11 touchdowns. In 2020, 3 touchdowns. 2021, 20 touchdowns. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I think it's pretty easy to see an outlier when it's laid out in that fashion. I think the touchdown rate dramatically comes down for Mr. Austin Eckler. I think Eckler comes back down to earth ever so slightly, even if this is an elite level offense. Like I said, guys, I have him as my running back 3. I just think those wide receivers in Kupp, Jefferson, Jamar Chase are truly generational level talents, guys that have extremely high ceilings. And at the same time, they probably have the floor to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Those guys like Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, you can find red flags with all those players. You can make an argument against all of them. I mean, of course, age 27 over the past 7 seasons or so has been a massive age cliff when it comes to the running back position. Williams says, I feel like Deandre Swift could finish first in PPR formats this year. Personally, I am in on Deandre Swift if we get a mid-second round or late second. My issue is when you have Deandre Swift, I mean, the last draft we were in, Deandre Swift went at what, pick 12? This draft here, you are getting Deandre Swift at pick 15. I understand you have the elite level offensive line in Detroit, and I've already made so many arguments in why you should draft Deandre Swift over the years. I mean, remember, I was Deandre Swift's #1 advocate last year. People were coming out telling you not to draft him because of Jamal freaking Williams. I love 3rd round Deandre Swift. He's going to get every valuable touch out of the backfield, every target, every red zone opportunity. We were talking about this last year. We were talking about this in Dynasty when he was coming in as a rookie. The situation hasn't changed. If anything, they have more passing down weapons where it's not like Aaron Jones where the entire passing offense is probably going to be funneled through him. And now you're having to pay a significantly higher price. So, trust me, I was making video after video after video, being called an idiot, telling people to draft DeAndre Swift in the 3rd. It's harder for me to get there when he's a 1-2 turn pick this year. Okay. So now let's go ahead, scroll this down. For looking at running backs that are going to be available to us at the 5-6 turn, I mean, maybe we go Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs. I mean, if David Montgomery falls there with the report that David Montgomery is actually being used in special team environments, I mean, I'm kind of surprised to hear that, but if David Montgomery falls, we probably go ahead and we probably take David Montgomery at that price point. Sorry, guys. I'm in that other draft that we had abandoned because of the Wi-Fi issues. Let me just make sure we have an okay idea of what we're doing here. Now, Darnell Mooney goes to pick 56. Chris Godwin at 55. Derek, of course, takes George Kittle. He has a very interesting start so far. He has Deebo Samuel, Kittle on the same roster. He's able to stack up the combination of both Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. I think Derek should be very excited about the start that he is through the first 5 rounds. David Montgomery goes off the board at pick 58. Amari Cooper off. Yeah, this is why we decided to take Hollywood Brown. I didn't love it, but we are looking at the wide receiver versus running back value that we are going to have at this point. Like, do you prefer J.K. Dobbins or Amon-Ra St. Brown? In my opinion, it's going to be Dobbins. It shouldn't be close if we're talking about pure upside in an offense that can lead the NFL in carries. And J.K. Dobbins, obviously an elite level athlete at the same time. I think we take Dobbins here at pick 61. And that's why we decided to, quote unquote, reach on Hollywood at 37, even though I will admit that the more exciting pick was definitely going to be Travis Etienne. Like, I prefer the combination of J.K. Dobbins and Hollywood Brown over Travis Etienne and Elijah Moore, especially when we're able to set up the ability for us to take Kyler Murray at pick 60 and have the double stack in there with Kyler, Hollywood, and James Conner. And real quick, just in case you are joining this live stream for a second time, maybe you dropped a like on the first live stream that got shut down due to the Wi-Fi struggles, but If you have not done so already, drop a like on this stream. This is the one that it matters. Please go down there, drop a like on it. We had like 200 likes before the stream got shut down. But now we have a little bit of a run on wide receivers. You have Elijah Mitchell. You also at the same time have Josh Jacobs falling down draft boards, going after guys like Adam Thielen. Maybe we should have gone ahead. We should have taken Amon-Ra St. Brown and expected us to get some really strong running back values on the way back around. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Interesting spot to be in. Kingview says, steering clear of all Baltimore running backs. Interesting, my man. I would love to hear your explanation on why you're doing that. Okay, let me just go over to our other draft real quick. Sorry, I got to make a couple picks here. Now we have A.J. Dillon off the board at pick 67. Interesting to see Dillon before Elijah Mitchell. I can't get there. I understand the thought process. The Green Bay Packers have an elite quarterback, an elite offensive line. That's going to be a team that puts up a zillion points. And I loved A.J. Dillon last year when you were getting him in the 8th round as a committee running back with elite contingency value. If Aaron Jones were to go down, obviously A.J. Dillon is a running back 1. But Elijah Mitchell may be a running back 1. You don't need an injury in the backfield. So it's interesting. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to take Elijah Mitchell. Kingview says, pretty simple. All the injuries, and most importantly, Lamar will handle the bulk of the rushing this season. I would agree. I would be significantly more worried about the injuries if we were in a situation where J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL week 10. J.K. Dobbins tears his ACL week 10, week 11, then yeah, I'm going to be concerned. However, since J.K. Dobbins tore it before the season even started, I understand he's not practicing, but think about it. The man compared to Michael Gallup, who tore his ACL in week 17, Jameson Williams, who tore his ACL in January, he gets an extra 4 months to rehab. 4 months is forever. The Super Bowl was what, 5 months ago? Like 4.5 months ago? Like 4 months is a very long time that he's been able to add to his rehab. So I'm going to be fine taking pick 61, J.K. Dobbins. You have Josh Jacobs making it all the way to 73. Do y'all think Josh Jacobs actually falls because he played today? Like, I will admit, I've drafted a decent amount of Josh Jacobs. I've drafted a lot of Josh Jacobs, okay? Let me get that out there. And it was not a good feeling seeing him out there on the field. At this price point, I'll tell you, not only have I drafted a lot of Josh Jacobs, I will continue to go out of our way, and I will continue to draft a lot of Josh Jacobs if he's going here at the beginning of the 7th round. On Underdog Fantasy, as an ADP in the middle of the 6th, I've been taking him there. I've been taking him at the beginning of the 6th as well if Dobbins doesn't make it back. But it's a really interesting spot to be in. Wes Pipe says he has a bunch of Jacobs as well. Let me know, are you concerned that he played today? I know he looked good. Yeah, trust me, I was excited when we saw him look good, but it's a little tough. Now, Gibson goes pick 77. Joe Burrow still on the board. Lance on the board. Russell Wilson still on the board. We decided to take Kyler Murray, so it's not like we need an elite level quarterback. If we were to go ahead and take another guy here, I would say maybe Lance would be the player we want given his rushing upside, but Derek has the combination of both Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, so I would be very, very surprised if he did not take Trey Lance. Yeah, he goes Lance at 81. I mean, when you have Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Trey Lance falls that far past his ADP to you, you're going to go ahead. You are going to decide to take Trey Lance. I think that's almost a no-brainer. Will says, who are y'all predicting for a random breakout season? Someone that I like for a breakout that nobody is currently projecting to break out. I don't hate the idea of seeing Christian Watson as the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Now, I know everybody and their mom thinks Allen Lazard is going to be the guy. That's why Allen Lazard here has an ADP of 74. And Christian Watson has an ADP of, God, we have 127. Christian Watson's going to about 60 picks behind him. 50 to 60 picks behind him. That's like 5 rounds. So not too many people are going to be projecting it that way. But I am not going to be that surprised if we get a random breakout season from Christian Watson, an elite size adjusted athlete. I don't really care too much about that at wide receiver as we would at running back, but at the same time, dominant in college. If you're looking at the amount of receiving yards he accounted for on a per game basis, I really like the idea of going in and betting on the guy. Now, after this, do we just take Dak Prescott at pick 85 because we have CeeDee Lamb? Honestly, I don't think we do. Let's think through this. We'll take Renfrow. I'm not a fan of it, guys. Okay. I'm not a fan of it. Let me go through. Let me show this draft board. The reason we decide to go Hunter Renfrow here is very simple. We're reading the room. We're looking at this draft full of crazy people. Crazy people. You have people pushing Josh Jacobs down to pick 73 so they can instead take Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Devonta Smith, Drake London. I think we are going to have wide receivers continue to go off this draft board relatively quickly. And in that kind of environment, let's just take someone that we are confident is going to be able to get targets. This is going to be our third wide receiver. You have to start 3 wide receivers every single week on Underdog. But let's go ahead. Let's make the pick. Kit Kat Kid says, do bye weeks matter on Underdog? Yeah, they matter. I mean, it's not something that you should 100% ignore unless you're potentially in a tournament draft, and I honestly don't really look at it. But I would say in a vacuum, people are going to overrate the importance of bye weeks in fantasy football. You get the same amount of weeks played by every single player. I think if you focus in on the actual roster construction you want to build, combined with the player profiles we are targeting, I think that's going to be significantly more important than drafting around bye weeks. Paul says, I saw Josh Jacobs fall to the 8th round in an Underdog draft. Yeah, guys, this is why Josh Jacobs is one of my most drafted running backs. Like, I will say I've never seen Josh Jacobs fall to the 8th round. I've never seen it. Because if I get Josh Jacobs in the 7th, I draft Josh Jacobs in the 7th. 100%. But still. B-Max says, is a 3 wide receiver format better than a 2? I would argue yes, because if you're playing in, say, like a league where you start 2 wide receivers in 1 flex spot, it's easy. Grab an elite level tight end and hammer in running backs. But once you add in a 3rd wide receiver, then you do have to really sit here and think about the supply and demand across different positions. These wide receivers are going to fly up draft boards where it's a more challenging exercise, which I enjoy. I don't play fantasy football because it's the easiest thing in the world, and all you have to do is click a button every single time. You just go running back, running back, running back. No. If you only have to start 3 wide receivers total in terms of starting 2 receivers and then a flex, wide receivers don't really matter. But here, it's going to be a different type of situation. And we are about to pass 200 likes on the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping a like on the stream. Now, James Cook goes 97. Devin Singletary goes 98. Let's go ahead. Let's scroll this down. At the 108, I mean, it looks like maybe we actually are going to have some pretty strong wide receiver values. I mean, I'm surprised to see this with the running backs all going off. Like, people decided to pass on Jacobs until the 7th round and then go ahead, take Damian Harris 95, take Penny, take James Cook before ADP, take Devin Singletary before ADP, take Ramondre Stevenson before ADP, take Chase Edmonds before ADP. I'm not saying they shouldn't do this. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. But I'm just saying it's a very interesting way to go about it. Okay, so Dallas Goddard goes at 100. Scroll this back over so y'all can see the entire draft board. I don't love this draft so far. I do think we probably made the incorrect decision of going Hunter Renfrow at pick 85. I think maybe the correct way to go would have been just with an elite level quarterback in Dak Prescott, or possibly going with a running back in Tony Pollard. but I was just worried because we had 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and based on this draft room with how we had seen round 6, I was worried these wide receivers were going to fly off. Jack says, Zamir White looking good. I'm not a big Zamir White guy. I mean, if I'm going to be looking at Zamir White, he is a first and second down grinder that's undersized. He's very similar to Ronald Jones, just not as good. And of course, Ronald Jones isn't a great running back. That's why I'm saying I'm not excited about Zamir White whatsoever. It doesn't matter how he looks today. I'm not going to be drafting Zamir White. Andrew says Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Chase Edmonds. Definitely, especially whenever we have Travis Kelsey on this team and we want to build in some correlation with that Kansas City Chiefs offense. Okay, so Chase Claypool goes at 104. How serious is this Stafford injury? Okay, so let's read this. Stafford is dealing with bad tendonitis in his throwing elbow per Ian Rappaport. The Super Bowl winning quarterback underwent a PRP injection over the offseason, and the Rams are providing maintenance days for him during training camp. It's very unlikely Stafford misses any regular season action. Okay, so I don't think we need to worry about it. If Stafford's not missing any time, I'm not going to worry about it. And if anything, maybe we use it as a buy low opportunity on Matthew Stafford. I think we do want to take Garrett Wilson here, given the talent profile that he has. To get him at wide receiver 52 is obnoxious, in my opinion. And then past this, do we decide to take Matthew Stafford about 10 to 11 picks past his ADP? Let's think of the players that we're able to stack Matthew Stafford with a little bit later on. Obviously, you have Allen Robinson. You have Cooper Kupp already off the board. No, let's not go in that direction. Let's go back-to-back rookies here. I understand Kenneth Walker in a horrible situation, but with Kenneth Walker, you are simply never getting a rookie running backs with his profile as an option in the freaking, I don't even want to say this out loud, 10th round. A running back that has an elite size-adjusted athleticism profile goes in the second round of the NFL draft, is playing behind historically one of the most injury-prone running backs in the entire NFL, and we are getting this player in the 10th. I understand it's a horrendous offensive line. I understand it's a horrendous offense in general with the quarterback play included. But let's take him. Let's take him. Derek says, I figured you were going to take Rondale. I guess maybe we could have. If we didn't have James Conner, sure. I think at one point we did kind of understand that once we get to that week 17 game, having maybe too many players on a singular offense is going to be a little counterintuitive. Because how would it be possible for the winning lineup to have Wan'Dale, Hollywood, James Conner, and Kyler Murray? If we were trying to find the highest ceiling possible, it's probably not likely for us to be able to make up a starting lineup of 8 players with 4 guys from the same offense that we took inside the top 10 rounds. So I really still am trying to correlate. Of course, I'm trying to get our wide receiver 1 associated with our quarterback and so on down the room. But I am no longer just taking Kyler Murray, and then every chance we get the opportunity to take another Arizona Cardinal, we do so. Now, if we are later on in the draft, yes, I'm fine with it. Like instead of taking Zach Ertz in the 10th, instead of taking Wan'Dale Moore in the 10th, say we get AJ Green in the 18th. Yeah, 100%. I could see how AJ Green helps us out in week 15, say with that spike week with Kyler Murray, and then we advance. Like I can see it with that opportunity cost. But specifically with Rondale Moore, I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to reach on Rondale Moore in the 10th just because we took Kyler. Will says, breaking news, Matthew Stafford's arm fell off. Oh, dear God. Well, guys, I just spent so much time adjusting the rankings in the draft guide, updating the draft guide for everybody who used promo code FLOCK. And oh yeah, real quick, let me give this announcement out. If you have not gotten the updated draft guide and you used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, what I need from you is I need you to send me an email. You can find it in the description of the video with the email address you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with. Now, it doesn't have to be from that exact same email account. Like if you have a business account, say you signed up for Underdog Fantasy and made an account with, and you want to email me from your personal, just include in the description of the email, include when you type it out, say, hey, Mason, I signed up for Underdog with email X. Can I get the updated draft guide? And I'll be happy to send you out And if you purchased the draft guide on flockfantasy.com, you should be able to just go to flockfantasy.com and download the new version immediately. But we have the updated rankings. We have the updated player profiles for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Denver Broncos, and the Cleveland Browns with the news that we've had in the past week. But now Justin Fields goes pick 120. Cole Kmet goes pick 121. So Bang Your Head decides to go ahead and get the Chicago Bears correlation in here. Now, it's interesting this draft so far. They obviously have Lamar and Rashad Bateman. I understand why you go ahead and you take Rashad Bateman at pick 49 when you take Lamar Jackson at 48. I'm still taking Darren Waller there. I honestly don't care whatsoever, especially if we're looking at Lamar Jackson as a quarterback that can derive the majority of his value in the rushing department. I don't think correlating with the passing offense is going to matter nearly as much. And if we're going to look at the top 3 rounds, I'm going to take Keenan Allen over Michael Pittman. But I just really like what they were able to do in the 7th. I don't know why. I can't stop looking at that Josh Jacobs pick 73. It's not even that far behind his ADP. It's like, 7 picks behind his ADP? That's not that crazy. Players fall 7 picks behind their ADP all the time, but I'm taking me some 7th round Josh Jacobs any chance we get. Okay, now we have Rashad White going to pick 126. Beyond this, I guess we have a very balanced start so far. I'm not going to be interested in Irv Smith Jr. in this range. I've said this so many times before, but the tight ends that we can get 2-3 rounds from now, in my opinion, they're very comparable to Irv Smith Jr. I think we are going to see a teardrop, however, when it comes to some of these wide receivers, when it comes to some of these running backs. Now, Ronald Jones goes 128. Derek goes Darrell Henderson at 129. Looks like we are not taking a running back here. Looks like we're going to be locked into 2 wide receivers or possibly Pat Freiermuth. Jacoby Myers goes 130. See what Colin decides to do. I'm completely fine. He goes Tua. Yeah, we're going to go with a Michael Gallup. We're going to correlate that with a CeeDee Lamb. I really like Gallup's price point overall. I understand he's going to miss the beginning portion of the season, but we are trying to have the highest ceiling possible in weeks 15, 16, and 17. And then we'll go ahead. We'll take Mecole Hardman as well. Let's go Gallup and Mecole Hardman. And let me show you all this draft board so far. We, of course, are at the 112. At wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Hollywood Brown, Hunter Renfrow, Garrett Wilson, Michael Gallup, and Mecole Hardman. So we have 2 pieces of the Kansas City Chiefs passing offense. We have 2 pieces of the Dallas Cowboys passing offense. I guess we also have Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well. I did not notice that. And then if we're looking at running back, we have James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Kenneth Walker. We have the elite level quarterback in Kyler Murray. Obviously, the elite level tight end in Travis Kelsey. I think it's a solid team. I'm not too excited about it. I think the one selection maybe we can go back and question, especially knowing that we get Michael Gallup at pick 132. I think we made a massive mistake taking Hunter Renfrow at 85 instead of taking Dak Prescott. We should go ahead. We should take Dak Prescott here. We should get a quarterback that has access to an elite level ceiling, and at the same time, a quarterback that does correlate with CeeDee Lamb as well as Gallup, and someone that I'm fine with drafting this year. Gucci Mane says, thoughts on Jalen Tolbert going that high now? If Jalen Tolbert's going to pick 119 and Michael Gallup, a wide receiver that we saw lead the Dallas Cowboys, yes, he led the Dallas Cowboys in 2019, his second year in the NFL, over Amari Cooper in both targets per game and receiving yards per game. I understand he's injured, but Jalen Tolbert is a rookie out of South Alabama. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Michael Gallup every day of the week over Jalen Tolbert. And when they go this far apart, it means I'm simply never drafting Jalen Tolbert. I'm simply never drafting Tolbert. Let me go ahead and look at how many drafts I've taken him in. I don't think I've drafted Tolbert once in the past month with his ADP being so high, so I'm not going to be that surprised if my exposure to Jalen Tolbert's like 2 to 3%. Okay, I have 5% Jalen Tolbert. I thought we had a lot less. Maybe we were drafting him more about 6 weeks ago than I initially thought. But yeah, in the 10th round, I'm taking Jalen Tolbert in his total of 0 of these drafts. Ryan says, what do you think of Devonta Smith this year, seeing him in the late 6th? I feel like he should be higher. The thing is, if you think Devonta Smith should be higher than where he's going, where are you moving him ahead of? Like, if we're going to look at his ADP right now, yeah, this is exactly where Devonta Smith goes. I mean, he goes right in line with Drake London. He goes right after Adam Thielen, Michael Thomas, and Elijah Moore. Usually Amon-Ra St. Brown goes before this wide receiver core. So what wide receivers in the chat, please let me know. Do you think we should be moving Devonta Smith ahead of in this group? I would argue he should probably be drafted a little bit lower than this. I would argue I probably want Elijah Mitchell over him. I probably want Josh Jacobs over him. But please let me know what wide receivers, if you're a Devonta Smith fan here in this range, obviously the thumbnail of this live stream right now, who are you pushing him ahead of? Okay. So now let's scroll this back down. Jameis Winston goes 149. Robbie Anderson goes 150. So it looks like we are probably going to have to go ahead. We're probably going to have to grab 2 late quarterbacks. Like, once we get past the Jameis Winston tier, all these quarterbacks are about the same for me. Okay. Scroll this down. We still need some tight ends. Our one tight end is going to be Travis Kelsey, so we only have to draft 1 total tight end here. I don't think we have to worry about it too much. I mean, even if we were to miss out on this tier of tight ends, it's not the end of the world. We're going to be just fine. Now, Derek on the clock. Derek at quarterback has the combination of Josh Allen and Trey Lance. At tight end, he has George Kittle. At running back, Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No, I'm sorry. Breece Hall, Chase Edmonds, Cordell Patterson, and Darrell Henderson. So we have some more wide receivers going off the board. I think it's going to be fine for us since we decided to take Gallup and Mecole Hardman with our last 2 picks. Now, with this selection, let's take David Njoku over Gerald Everett, despite the appeal, obviously, with Watson's suspension. Beyond that, I think Tyrion Davis-Price needs to fall a little bit. Herbert is getting steamed up. Like, people are ecstatic to go out there and draft Keel Herbert. Maybe we take Herbert here just knowing that his ADP is probably going to end up higher than this. I don't necessarily understand the hype, but what other player would even be intriguing in this range? Tyrion Davis-Price right now is not getting great reports out of San Francisco, even though I would have definitely taken Tyrion Davis-Price over Herbert here before we've had the past 2 weeks of news. I think we can't be stubborn. We can't just continue to draft it that way. So let's take Herbert at 157. I don't love it, but I will say I think it's going to be short-lived how long you can draft him here. Just looking at the momentum of draft boards, looking at where he's been going as of late, Herbert's going to be a running back that continues to rise whether we like it or not. So if we were going to draft him at all in like the 500 drafts, 600 drafts we do this offseason, it's probably going to have to be here because I'm not going to want to take him at the 12, 13 turn. Looked like some people wanted us to go ahead and take Matt Ryan. Guys, the issue is, like, if we're looking at Matt Ryan here compared to the quarterbacks that we're going to have at the very end of the draft, I think the quarterbacks we're going to have at the very end of the draft, like Jared Goff in round 17, Carson Wentz around 18, I don't think they're that different. And I would rather wait until those final 2 rounds and be able to draft 3 total quarterbacks, given how many points they should score if we expect this tier of guys. Like, literally, after Jameis Winston's off the board, they're all the same to me. If they're all the same, I would rather spend 2 roster spots, get those players cycled through the season. Now we have Noah Fant going 164. I think once we take Herbert, we're probably done at running back, so I'd be excited to see these running backs continue to go. And yeah, Isaiah McKenzie is officially going before Jamison Crowder in drafts. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, obviously, we can't just ignore what's happening in training camp. I initially thought that it was 100% Jamison Crowder's job. I mean, if we look at Jamison Crowder, he has a track record of being a pretty good slot wide receiver. I mean, I thought he was almost going to be a better version of what Cole Beasley was last year. But to be fair, if we look at the contract, he has a little less than $2 million guaranteed, where if we're going to compare this to Isaiah McKenzie, one second, we got to find this. So we have about $2 million guaranteed for Jamison Crowder, and with Isaiah McKenzie, I guess you have $1.2 million guaranteed, but he does sign a 2-year deal. They're about the same. They're about the same in terms of the contracts. Isaiah McKenzie's been with the Bills a little bit longer. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the live chat. Do you still prefer Crowder over Mckenzie? And oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Why didn't we take KJ Hamler? KJ Hamler was the easy selection over Herbert here, pick 157. Maybe it's my fault because we're live streaming. I shouldn't make that excuse. We should be better. I should remember to take freaking KJ Hamler, the wide receiver 3, and an electric passing offense where I don't think Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are going to soak up every single target. I love the talent profile of KJ Hamler. We have a KJ Hamler jersey hanging up in this room right now. Idiotic for me to take Herbert over KJ Hamler, despite probably that's how most people would draft it. Scuba Diver says, I like Shakir to potentially take that slot role. Would be very intriguing. He was dominant at a very small school, stayed all 4 years. Had a profile, in my opinion, very similar to Jalen Tolbert. Now, he goes in day 3 of the NFL draft, which 100% means that you have to adjust your rankings and you can't just continue to draft him where you once did. But it is interesting to see the hype that you have for Tolbert, and really nobody cares about Shakir. Okay, Marlon Mack goes 173. Good. Please get these running backs off the board. Someone take Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards behind J.K. Dobbins in rehab. Is a little behind the Ravens' other rehabbing players. The list includes Dobbins, who is already coming back from an ACL injury and remains on the PUP list despite reportedly being antsy to practice. Interesting. Edwards tore his ACL after J.K. Dobbins, but I'm pretty sure it was like the same week. It was pretty much like the same week. It was almost the same exact time. Okay, so now we have Hayden Hurst going to 176. We have Travis Kelsey, and I believe our second tight end is David Njoku, so we're not drafting another one. Now, Brian Robinson goes 177. We're going to be looking to take 2 more wide receivers in this draft and 2 more quarterbacks. It's your boy Paulie says it was like the next day. Yeah, I think it was back-to-back. They were back-to-back. That's so surprising, though, to hear that Edwards is behind him in rehab, because all the reports that I've read saying, oh, yeah, no, he's having issues. Yada, yada. Okay, do we have any players? I guess we should go ahead. We should take Zach Wilson. We have Garrett Wilson on this team. Beyond that, if we're looking at Mac Jones versus some of the other wide receivers we could draft here, if we take Mac Jones, we're not going to be able to get Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne will be off the board on the way back around. Maybe we go Mac Jones and we go Tyquan Thornton in the last round. If we were to take a wide receiver here, the guy I would want would probably be Donovan Peoples-Jones. There's no reason for us to hold out hope on Jared Goff. So let's take Mac Jones and let's just fire up another draft. We hit 250 likes in the live stream, so thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping a like on the stream. I appreciate y'all. And if you haven't dropped that like, make sure you do so ASAP. Let's go ahead. Let's pull up our next draft. We are going to be firing up another $5 puppy. Okay, this is automatically full. We joined a full room. I apologize, guys. I can't control that. And we were drafting at the 103. Thank God. Oh, my gosh. I'm tired of picking it. Don't give us another pick in that range. The 103 is a significantly better spot to be in. We have Lions Walter picks. We have Ra the second, TP the Kid, a part of the flock. We have BD Nick Foles. Obviously, we know what that means. Jake Nader, Jitty Rogers, SWM88. A lot of names I can't pronounce in this draft, but you know what? It doesn't matter because we get Cooper Kupp. We get Cooper Kupp, and that solves a lot of problems that you could potentially have. So it's nice that since we go quarterback in the last draft, I can just queue up a crap ton of receivers. Okay, there we go. Got our wide receivers queued up and good to go in this draft. Jonathan Taylor goes at pick 1. No surprise there. I'm assuming we get Christian McCaffrey off the board at 2. We will take Cooper Kupp. I'm not going to be a part of the gang drafting Justin. You know what? Maybe with the Stafford injury. Guys, with the Stafford injury, should I go Jefferson over Kupp? Jefferson goes at 2. Never mind. It's going to be a Christian McCaffrey build. But let me know in the live chat right now. With the Stafford injury, I don't think we should be making massive adjustments. But for a player that's in the same tier like that, should we just switch him? I know a lot of people were switching Jefferson and Kupp even before we had the Stafford report. And I thought that wasn't something we should do. I was standing by Cooper Kupp as the wide receiver 1 overall. But maybe all of a sudden that is something that we need to use as a tiebreaker. We need to go ahead and we need to assume that there's some downside risk, although it's probably not a lot. I don't know. So we have Cooper Kupp going to 4, Jamar Chase 5, Eckler 6, Stephon Diggs 7, Dalvin Cook 8. So a very standard draft outside of seeing Justin Jefferson make his way up to pick 2, which, I mean, Justin Jefferson is a generational talent. Justin Jefferson is playing with a very efficient quarterback. So I understand why people would want to do it. Personally, I'm not going to, but I understand the thought process. I'll say that for sure. Okay. It's your boy Paulie says, also, like, when was the last time there was a repeat receiving yards leader? Guys, I've talked about this with people coming out and saying, oh, you can't draft Jonathan Taylor as the running back 1. We never have running back 1s repeat. Think through this. Why would that happen? I got a simple explanation. Because let's use Cooper Kupp as an example. Cooper Kupp just finished as the wide receiver 1 last year. Cooper Kupp smashed in every statistical category that matters. However, Cooper Kupp's probably not the wide receiver 1 overall this upcoming season. Why is that? Because Cooper Kupp is a singular player. If you're making a singular bet on Cooper Kupp versus the rest of the field, versus Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Jalen. If you're looking at one player versus the rest of the field, of course, is going to be more likely to finish with that top spot. So just because you say, oh, well, when's the last time that a guy's repeated at number 1 overall? It doesn't mean you shouldn't draft that player at number 1 overall. We're not drafting Cooper Kupp as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy drafts because we think he's guaranteed to be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy. We go, okay, well, Cooper Kupp maybe has a 15% chance to be the wide receiver 1 overall this upcoming season. Justin Jefferson maybe has a 13% chance. Jamar Chase maybe has an 11% chance, and so on down the line. You draft Cooper Kupp as the wide receiver 1 because you think he has the best chance to be the wide receiver 1, not that he is guaranteed. Now, Travis Etienne at pick 19. Dear God, that's going to push down value to us at 22 as well as 27. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get Mark Andrews and Christian McCaffrey on the same build. Going to be very excited about that. Of course, we are now going to be targeting Lamar Jackson at the 4-5 turn. Let's see what else makes it to us. Leonard Fournette off the board at 23. Oh, I'm so excited we saw that Travis Etienne value. That's going to give us a nice pick on the way back around. Like, worst case scenario, we're walking away with T. Higgins here. This is how I would look to draft it. Okay. Let me know in the chat right now. If we have the option for both, who do you prefer between Javonte Williams and Nick Chubb? Let me know in the chat ASAP. Javonte Williams will be a running back that begins to fall. I'll let you know that right now. But that doesn't mean we should just take Nick Chubb here. Okay, so let's check this. We have Javonte, Chubb, Javonte, Chubb, Javonte, Chubb. Okay, it looks like most people are wanting us to go Nick Chubb. I'll listen to the live chat. We will go ahead. We'll take Nick Chubb. I will say, hell, it's the number 2 offensive line in the NFL, according to PFF. If, and I repeat, it's a big if, but if Deshaun Watson plays the final 11 weeks of the season, if you look at Deshaun Watson's career adjusted yards per pass attempt, his career average would have made him a top 3 quarterback in the NFL last year. Like, Deshaun Watson's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in terms of raw talent, despite him not playing last year. Hell, Joe Burrow had to sit a year out of football. He came back just fine. He looked just fine. I think we are going to be completely fine to assume that you have a very good quarterback with the Deshaun Watson when he does play. So this could be a dynamic Cleveland Browns offensive line. Offense overall. And I will admit, maybe they look to throw the ball a little bit more now that they have the upgraded quarterback play. But at the same time, with that upgraded quarterback play, they should have more trips to the red zone, and there should be more touchdown upside for Nick Chubb. MCP says, disappointed you didn't go Cortland Sutton. Honestly, I'm disappointed I didn't take Cortland Sutton over Christian McCaffrey. Like, what was I thinking? Cortland Sutton should have been off the board by pick 3. All jokes aside, I can't say anything bad about Cortland Sutton anymore because now that Tim Patrick's out of the situation, the formula's completely changed. Like, if you're looking at where I'm ranking Sutton at this point, I think I have Cortland Sutton as like the wide receiver 19, and he's being drafted as like the wide receiver 16. Before the Tim Patrick injury, I had Cortland Sutton as the wide receiver 24 in fantasy. So then when he was being drafted as the wide receiver 16, I could go out here, I can make some jokes, I can call him one of the most overdrafted players in fantasy. But no, at this point, it's fine. Like, there's not much I can talk about it because my main thesis and why both Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy were overvalued in fantasy is looking at the depth that you had with Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler and the assumption that they would take away a significant amount of targets because I thought they were the best wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4 duo in the NFL. And also they had capable tight ends. They had capable running backs. I thought the targets were going to be so dispersed in this offense that it didn't matter how efficient it was. But I don't know. Okay. So you have Sutton 37, Mclaurin 38. Okay, Kyle Pitts makes it to the 4th round here. Interesting. How did Pitts make it? Okay, I guess you had a couple surprise selections. McLaurin over Pitts is a surprise. I mean, Herbert going at pick 33, of course, is weird. You have Ezekiel Elliott to the team that decided to take Travis Etienne in the 2nd round. So that team goes Austin Eckler, Travis Etienne, Ezekiel Elliott through the first 3. James Conner makes it to the 405. So this team started through with Dalvin, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, and Michael Pittman through the first 3 rounds. Guys, we are going to come away with a monstrous roster here. I'm very excited about how this team's going to look. And real quick, let me give you all a thank you. We just passed 300 likes on the live stream. Thank you. This night is messed up a little bit because we had to restart the live stream. We had to fire it up after our Wi-Fi failed us. So if you have not dropped a like on the stream, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on the stream. And if you want to get in a real money fantasy football draft here with us on Underdog Fantasy, make sure you go to the link in the description, the link in the live chat. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide, and you will support this channel, of course. But let's look at what that crazy team did. That crazy team decides to go Allen Robinson in the 4th. Now that Jerry Jeudy's off the board, let's think through this. I'm not taking Gabriel Davis. Y'all know I'm not taking Davis. Do we reach on Lamar Jackson here so we can guarantee ourselves the Mark Andrews and Lamar stack? You know what? I'm not going to do it. We are going to swing for the fences. This is a puppy draft. It's a $5 buy-in, $200,000 up top for first place. Of course, first place gets paid in your 12-team league. Second place gets paid in your 12-team league. But a small percentage of every league pot set aside for the massive tournament at the very end of the season. So we have to consider the large field aspect to this. And if we're considering the large field aspect, everything has to go right. Everything does. Lamar goes directly after us, so we swing for the fences. We whiff. That sucks. It is what it is. We'll figure out how to go around this. George Kittle and Darren Waller go to the same team. That's going to be good for us. When we have Mark Andrews, we would love for those 2 elite level tight ends to go to the same roster, potentially push up tight ends a little bit later on. This will honestly make me feel more inclined to go with a Dalton Schultz, say in the 7th round, if he does make it to us. We need a wide receiver. We need a quarterback. Gabriel Davis, obviously the best value on the board according to ADP. Gabriel Davis falling about 7.5, 8 picks past his ADP. But at the same time, I don't know if I can pass on Patrick Mahomes for Gabriel Davis. This goes back to the fact that I'm going to admit I have a lizard brain. I am a complete donkey. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just a monkey clicking buttons. But I see Patrick Mahomes in the 5th round. Something instinctual, something deep down, something prehistoric takes over, takes my mouse from me, and drafts Patrick Mahomes at pick 51. Yeah. Chris Godwin goes 52. Let's see how far Gabriel Davis falls. I need to go to the front door real quick and let someone in. I will be back in 10 seconds. Legitimately 10 seconds. The front door is right next to me. Sorry, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, and a run on wide receivers happened. Gabriel Davis ends up going off the board at pick 53. I don't want to say, oh, this run on wide receivers is making me regret taking Mahomes over Gabriel Davis, because this run on wide receivers was going to happen no matter what. I mean, if we're going to look at the context of this draft board, really the only running backs that you could look at as intriguing plays in this range would be a David Montgomery. Now, the real question is, what do we do if we get Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs falling to us at pick 70 on a team where we have gone through 5 rounds of the draft? We have probably 30 wide receivers drafted already, and we have a total of 0 of those guys. So, obviously, we are stepping into a concerning world right now where we are completely boxed out of the wide receiver position, and on Underdog Fantasy, that's not a good place to be. I'd be lying to you if I was saying I wanted more wide receivers to get drafted here. No, of course, we want these wide receivers to make it back to us. But Amari Cooper goes pick 60, so it's not looking that good. Let's see what players will fall. Hopefully we get a Hopkins. Hopefully we get a Drake London. I would love me some Drake London at the 6-7 turn, although we have been talking about London at this price point for quite some time. But if Montgomery falls, if Elijah Mitchell falls, I don't know if I'll be able to do anything but draft them. Now, we are talking about potentially taking Dalton Schultz in the 7th round because this team here on the turn in Nick Foles decided to take Darren Waller and George Kittle at the 4-5 turn. So if they went through and monopolized the tight end position with those 2 guys, and we took Dalton Schultz as well as Mark Andrews on the same roster, maybe we could create a cascading effect where all these tight ends got pushed up draft boards. But it looks like that it's not going to be an option for us. You have freaking Dalton Schultz going in round 5. Like, what are you doing taking Dalton Schultz in round 5? Now, Michael Thomas, our most drafted wide receiver, going at pick 65 here. I still remember the good old days when we were able to get Michael Thomas in the 8th round consistently, whenever we were able to have the YouTube trolls yell at us that Michael Thomas was not going to play this season because they listened to a doctor over the internet tell them that. Now, Joe Burrow goes pick 67. Now, this is the team that decided to take us up on that Gabriel Davis value when we let him fall. Took Gabriel Davis about 10 picks past his ADP. He takes his 2nd running back here with Josh Jacobs. Come on. Give us Darnell. Give us Darnell Mooney. Give us Darnell Mooney. We need a wide receiver. We need a receiver. Hell yes, ladies and gentlemen. This worked out perfectly for us. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 1. Let's recap this team. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful right there. Running back, CMC, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers. Tight end, Mark Andrews. Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Wide receiver, Darnell Mooney. Now, very rarely am I going to be jumping up and down in joy to draft Darnell Mooney. But that's because Darnell Mooney goes in round 5. Darnell Mooney usually goes in round 5. We're getting him here at pick 70 on a team where we had yet to draft a receiver. And now we're going to go ahead. We're going to get another wide receiver value. We're going to get Adam Thielen, guys. Y'all got to admit, I've crushed this so far, okay? Oh, this is beautiful. Adam Thielen picks 75. Darnell Mooney picks 70. Yeah, I mean, it's gross as a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 combo. I'll give you that. But it's a best ball format where we're going to be able to build more wide receiver depth on top of this. We have the elite level tight end. We have the elite level quarterback. We have the best running back core in this league. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. Now we have Trey Lance going 72. Tom Brady 76. Very interesting. I do not agree with that Tom Brady selection at 76. I understand. I mean, you take Chris Goddard at pick 52, but Brady at 76. What are we doing here? Now, if we're going to go through and check out on our favorite team that decided to go second round, Travis Etienne, third round, Ezekiel Elliott, they have cooled it a little bit. I mean, they decided to go Burrow pick 67, which I don't necessarily understand. I mean, if you're not a team that went with Jamar Chase in the first, you didn't take T. Higgins in the second or third, why are we reaching on Joe Burrow before his ADP? It's not necessarily the game I'm trying to play. Now, I'll say, hell, whenever I have Patrick Mahomes, please feel free. Reach on Tom Brady. Reach on Joe Burrow. Push players down to us. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. Now, Devonta Smith goes 79. So it looks like you have wide receivers falling down draft boards. DeAndre Hopkins fell to pick 80 here. Nate says team 10 for the win. Is that what FTW means? Let me know if that's what that means. Let me know if I have that correctly. We'll check out Team 10 right after this. Team 10 just took TJ Hawkinson. Patrick says Team 1 over Team 3. Someone ban Patrick right now. The disrespect, my man. The disrespect. Okay, looks like FTW means for the win. Edmonds goes 83. This team on the clock is yet to draft a running back. What's their team name? SMW 88. Still decides to pass on running back. Goes Brandon Ayuk and pick 84. Interesting. Are they gonna? You cannot pass on Miles Sanders here at the 801. If we are this far into the draft and you have not taken a running back yet, they pass on Miles Sanders, pick 85. I'm gonna lose my mind. They go Christian Kirk. Now Kirk's fine value. It looks like they're not reaching on any of these guys. I mean, I love that DJ Moore pick that they had at the end of the third. They have the elite level tight end. They have the elite level quarterback. I mean, they've drafted 6 receivers. Just seems aggressive when you have Miles Sanders sitting there for you. Like Miles Sanders is in your hand. Now, Dallas Goddard goes 86. So it looks like people are a little bit worried from that team at pick 1 deciding to double dip when it comes to those tight ends, because we saw someone reach on Dalton Schultz in the 5th. Now Dallas Goddard goes here at pick 86. You can usually get Dallas Goddard after pick 100. Now, I would be completely fine to take a running back if we have someone that we like falling to us in this range. Rashad Penny goes 88. Treylon Burks goes 89. Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes 90. CEH would have been the running back that we would have liked, especially on a Patrick Mahomes team. If we would have taken a running back here, we would have only been able to take a total of 0 more in the rest of the draft. I mean, when we have CMC, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers, we're going to take 1 more running back if we take him in this range, and then we're going to be done. But Kareem Hunt goes 92. Okay. Let me say this out loud. Once we see what Lions Walter Picks does. What are they going to do? Hopefully Damian Harris. They go Devin Singletary. Oh, dear God. Okay. Yes, we need a stack with Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is right in line with his ADP, but there's a reason MVS has an ADP here, and that's because the Patrick Mahomes team usually takes him here. Hunter Renfrow falls 12 picks past his ADP, falls an entire round, going back to what we were discussing at the very beginning of this live stream. This is a $5 puppy draft on Underdog Fantasy with $1 million prize pool. First place gets paid in your 12-team league. Second place gets paid in your 12-team league. A small percentage of every league is set aside for the very end of the season for that massive fantasy football playoff tournament. We need to go ahead and try to maximize the ceiling that we have. When we have the opportunity to take a player that gives us a unique build, we have to. And it looks like it works out for us because we are going to get Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the way back around. Hell yes. That's how it's done. That is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. This is the team that wins it. Don't bother signing up for Underdog Fantasy, guys. Don't bother going and joining these puppy drafts because I'm sorry, I got bad news for you. Probably the worst news you're going to hear tonight. We've already drafted the winning team. The winning team is right here with Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers at running back, at tight end, Mark Andrews, at quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and at wide receiver still came away with Darnell Mooney, Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I'm sorry, guys. If I were you, I would pack it in. I don't know. Maybe you can ask Underdog Fantasy for a refund if you've drafted in a puppy draft going, oh, you know what? I saw Mason's draft on the live stream. I don't know if I'm going to be able to compete. It's too strong. Mason's too good of a drafter. I would understand if that's where you're coming from, but that's just me. Zach Ertz goes at pick 103. Melvin Gordon, 104. So these tight ends continue to go a little bit earlier than you would assume. I think it's people are worried about that Darren Waller, George Kittle team. Now, Robert Woods goes 105. The team at the 110 is up on the clock. We had some people in the live chat really liking the 110 earlier. And yeah, they had a great start through the first 4 rounds. Dear God, you got to give them props. Derrick Henry, Mixon, Waddle, Kyle Pitts. I would say I don't like the Jalen Waddle selection for the sole reason that you decided to pass on Kyle Pitts. But then on the way back around, still managing to get Kyle Pitts there. Have to be so damn excited about that. Then we get Amon-Ra St. Brown at pick 58. I mean, that's kind of whatever. It's not like we can sit here and say, oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown, pick 58. That's going to be the best pick in this draft. But setting yourself up with the ability to take values later on, getting David Montgomery in the 6th, getting Hawkinson in the 7th. I guess this is another reason why people may be pushing up tight ends, because this team also has Kyle Pitts and TJ Hawkinson. Miles Sanders, 87. Rodgers, 106. I don't necessarily understand. Maybe they're going to go ahead. They're going to take Christian Watson at 111. At least that's what I'd assume that they would do if they decided to take Rodgers at 106. Okay. So, yeah, they're on the clock. Maybe they bet on Watson making it back to him. I'll say, if you don't take Watson here, I'm taking Watson. But this is a team that only has 2 wide receivers as well. I didn't notice that they only had 2 receivers. What did they do? They're taking this down to the very last second. They go Sky Moore. Okay, just for that. Just for you to take Sky Moore on us, where I thought we were going to build a super team. Christian Watson's available. We're taking Christian Watson. I'm not letting Christian Watson get back to you in the 11th. Isaiah Spiller goes to the 112. Not interested in Isaiah Spiller here. Tyler Lockett, 113. If we were to have Matthew Stafford make it back to us at 118, I understand obviously we have to be concerned about the elbow at this point. But 20 picks past his ADP. We have Akers. We can get Van Jefferson at the very end. Now that Van Jefferson's dealing with his own knee injury and has fallen down in ADP, we can get Higbee. I'll take Matthew Stafford if he falls. Garrett Wilson goes 114. If this team on the clock has Burrow and Dak, if they know what they're doing, they can't take another quarterback. A team right after has Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, and they reached on Carr, so I'd say they probably already have invested too much into quarterback as well. So Lions Walter picks is the one team we have to worry about taking Matthew Stafford in. And this is the one team that has Cooper Kupp. So, I mean, if I were them, I'd be probably taking Matthew Stafford. I'd definitely take Matthew Stafford if I were them. I mean, you're taking Brady at pick 76. I think Stafford at 117 on a Cooper Kupp build is almost a no-brainer. They take Cousins? Does Matthew Stafford still have 2 arms? Please, someone in the chat, confirm. The team that has Cooper Kupp just passed on Matthew Stafford 20 picks behind his ADP to take Kirk Cousins. We are taking Stafford here, and I'm going to pray to God we didn't miss a report that his arm fell off. I know he's dealing with... Let me know in the live chat right now. Does Matthew Stafford still have 2 arms? I don't even care if he has 2 arms. Does he still have his throwing arm? Does Stafford still have his right arm? 118 correlates with Akers. We can go through and we can bet on a Van Jefferson a little bit later on. Get someone of that sort. This is going to be our next 4 picks. I think White is somewhat intriguing given the fact that, running backs do seem to be getting pushed up these draft boards. Good for us to get Justin Fields off the board. We have Mahomes and Stafford. We're not looking for another quarterback on this team. I think Hardman's the preferable guy for us to get. I know we said we were going to take Christian Watson in the 11th round despite the team that took Sky Moore, but no, we can't do that. Even though I probably do like Christian Watson over Rondale Moore in a vacuum. How about this? Okay, I was going to say, if Mecole Hardman went off the board, we would take Christian Watson over Kenny Golladay. But no, we need Mecole Hardman. This is a team that is built around the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes here. We went through and we drafted Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I believe, in the 9th round. Yeah, we got him there at pick 99. Getting Mecole Hardman 123, just trying to capture some spike weeks here in this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Building up a wide receiver core that I think can be respectable with quantity over quality. We only have to draft 2 quarterbacks. We only have to draft 2 tight ends. How many running backs do we have to draft? 5 at the most? I think some people may make the argument you only draft 4 when you take the combination of Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Cam Akers. Personally, I'm a little scared, boys, so I probably will draft 5 and then take 9 receivers, but a great spot to be in. But let me check the chat to see if Stafford still has his throwing arm. Okay. P-Bro says 1.5 elbows. Will says he has no limbs. Okay. Does Matthew Stafford with no limbs score more or less fantasy points this year than Kirk Cousins? Does Stafford with... I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Henke says, it gives me Russell Wilson vibes from last year. Let me know who you're referring to. Matthew Stafford? Okay, so we have Julio Jones, Jacoby Myers off the board here at the very end of the 11th round. I don't even know what we need to hope for. Maybe more quarterbacks go off the board, but realistically speaking, what quarterbacks will be drafted at this point? Maybe Tua Tagovailoa, but we already have Justin Fields off the board. We already have Kirk Cousins off the board. So, we shouldn't assume that we are going to see any quarterbacks for quite some time. Now, let's scroll this down. And the team that took Rodgers at pick 10 decides to pass on Christian Watson in favor of Julio Jones. Why are they doing that? You took Rodgers for a reason, didn't you? I thought you were betting on the Green Bay Packers passing offense. Ronald Jones goes at pick 134. So these running backs are really coming off the board. I think if we have Kenneth Gainwell or Michael Carter making it to us, we probably should go ahead. We probably should take one of those RBs. It would be nice to see Tua. It would be nice to see Watson off the board. I have seen Watson falling way beyond this with the reports that the NFL is going to decide to appeal that suspension. So I don't want to say I'll be surprised if Watson goes, but at the same time, I don't think it's like a guarantee that Watson goes at his ADP. Okay, so Christian Watson goes 138. I would have loved to have Christian Watson making it to us. Christian Watson would have been my, honestly, top-ranked player. At this point, I think we break it down in terms of Joshua Palmer, Jahan Dotson, and then past then, I don't know. I'm not a massive Jarvis guy at this point. I'm not a massive Tyler Algier guy. I would honestly rather have Kenneth Gainwell, I think, as well as Michael Carter. Gainwell goes 141. So we are going to get Jahan Dotson. I'm completely fine taking Dotson here. We don't have a single rookie wide receiver. We do want to be trying to find players that have access to a higher ceiling in weeks 15, 16, and 17 than we would project for the beginning portion of the season. And we need to remember, we're looking for Los Angeles Rams, guys. So I think Tyler Higbee will be our option. Yeah, not in the 13th, but in the 14th round. Higbee has an ADP of 166, and we have exactly pick 166. So we'll try to get Higbee there. But past this, I would say if Jarvis were to fall and we're going to get Jarvis as our wide receiver 7, sure, we take him. But I want to be excited about it. Watson goes. Okay, that's good for us. Good for us to get Watson off the board with this core. Hopefully we see Lawrence gone. I doubt it. Nick Foles has Trey Lance, Justin Fields. This team right before us has Lamar and Deshaun Watson. Robbie Anderson goes 144. James Robinson goes 145. Tyler Algier goes. These are the 3 players I'd be interested in. Spam the chat right now. These are your votes. These are your votes. I don't want to hear KJ Osborne. I don't want to hear Alberto. I don't want to hear DJ Chark. These are the 3 guys we're looking at. Spam the chat. We got 14 seconds for your opinion. Ryan says Jameson Williams. Then we have Jarvis, Carter, Jameson, Landry, Williams, Carter. Okay. Looks like we ran out of time. The majority of people wanted Jameson Williams. It's my fault. 100% my fault. We had a couple people saying Landry, but definitely more people saying Williams. Next draft, we'll try to take Jameson Williams a little bit early for y'all. So Jarvis, I don't hate it in the 13th. I mean, Jarvis used to have an ADP. I think his ADP got his highest pick 129, but I've said this for a while now. I want to bet that Michael Thomas is the wide receiver 1 in New Orleans. Now, yes, some people can call me crazy. Yes, at one point, Chris Olave was going before Michael Thomas in these drafts. But I am of the opinion Michael Thomas is the wide receiver 1 for the New Orleans Saints. So I don't love Jarvis Landry at 147. Unless we were going to come away with, say, a Jameis Winston. But it is what it is. And real quick, we just passed 400 likes on the live stream. Thank you all so much for everybody going down there and dropping a like on the stream. Of course, I appreciate it. And we will probably fire up another draft after this one. How about this? Let's see how many we have right now. If we get 500 likes on the stream, which we've had 3,000 views on the live stream, so I don't think that's too much to ask for, especially because we're in round 13. If we get 500 likes on the live stream, we will go ahead. We will fire up another draft after this. We'll get in a $5 puppy draft so everybody else can get in with us. But now we have some more quarterbacks going with Mac Jones. It seems a little bit early for Jones. Trevor Lawrence goes off the board at 154. Like, this is what I don't get when people reach on their quarterbacks to potentially fill a stack. Like, I understand you definitely want to target Mac Jones later in your draft, but you know you can get Mac Jones at pick 161. If you can get Mac Jones at pick 161, guaranteed, why would you ever take him here? Even if you think that he's the best player available, why are we doing that? Now, Paris Campbell goes pick 155. I don't even think we need to really hope that we get wide receivers on the way back to us. I mean, we have, I believe, 5 rounds left in this draft, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so we have 5 rounds left. We need 1 more tight end. We need 2 more running backs, and I guess 2 more receivers. I mean, at wide receiver, we have Darnell Mooney, Adam Thielen. I think we have another wide receiver outside of Marquez Valdes-Scantling now. Is MVS our 3rd guy? I think he's our 4th. Who's our 3rd? Yeah, Hunter Renfrow is our 3rd wide receiver. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is our 4th. Hardman is our 5th. Dotson is our 6th. Landry is our 7th. I think we're okay at receiver. Now, David Njoku goes 157, and I just thought of something. I'm not forgetting this draft. I'm not forgetting, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody in the chat wanted to remind us, but I'm not forgetting. Stick around. You'll see a pick 166. Actually, we'll have to do it 171 because we need Tyler Higbee on this team. This is a Stafford build. We need to take Higbee. But, oh, Jameson Williams. Guys, y'all wanted me to take Jameson Williams. we may be getting him all the way back around. We're 5 picks away from getting both Jarvis and Jameson Williams. DJ Chark goes 161. We will 100% take Williams if he falls. Jamison Crowder goes 162. Come on, baby. Pickens 163. We're 3 picks away. Give him to us. Give him to us. Give him. L Chap 72. They took Jamal Williams. Lions Walter picks. They are on the clock. Where are they going? Ooh, what are they going to do? They have 4 running backs. Don't do it to us. They passed on him once. 10 seconds left. You want Nico Collins, my man. You want Nico. He's the wide receiver 2 in his offense. No, he wanted Marvin Jones. Okay. Now, y'all wanted this in the last round. I made the mistake not taking him, or maybe it was meant to be. Because we are now getting Jameson Williams falling to us. Pick 166 as our wide receiver 8 on this team. Guys, KJ Hamler was the player I was saying, I'm not going to forget him. We're going to take him at 166, but we just got Jameson Williams instead. Okay, this is exciting. Hopefully we get Tyler Higbee on the way back around. Nick Foles can't take another tight end. He has Kittle and Waller. This team in B. Winefield, they can easily take another tight end. They only have Irv Smith Jr. So pick 170 is going to be the pick that we need to fade for Tyler Higbee to make it back. Nico Collins goes 168. Will Fuller goes 169. This is our pick to get our tight end, correlate it up with Matthew Stafford. Guys, this team is so damn good. This is one of the best teams we have drafted in a very long time. Get us Tyler Higbee. 10 seconds left. Come on, baby. Come on. We are on a hot... Noah Fant off the board. Fire it up. Tyler Higbee as our second tight end here. Pairing him up with Matthew Stafford and Mark Andrews. Let's go ahead. Let's show this draft room off. Now, yes, at running back, we are very slim. Currently have Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers, and that's it. We're going to draft 2 guys at the very end. We'll probably come away with like a J.D. McKissick, a Brian Robinson. We'll come away with 2 more running backs. But we started with these 3 elite level guys. I mean, I think we're still okay at RB. Tight end, Mark Andrews, an elite level option. And we have Tyler Higbee if that's not enough to get it done. Quarterback, we have Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford. Now, people in the live chat are telling me that Matthew Stafford is currently going into the season with a total of 0 limbs. That may be concerning. I know the doctors in Los Angeles, specifically for the Rams, are going to be very good. Modern medicine is a miracle. Maybe Stafford regresses by 10% with no limbs, but hell, we're still going to be taking him here at pick 118. Then at wide receiver, we thought we were toast because we decided to pass on receiver through the first 5 rounds. We had Darnell, Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and McCole Hardman for the double stack with Patrick Mahomes. Then we get Jahan Dotson, Jarvis Landry, Jameson Williams. In a best ball format, I think that's a very strong wide receiver core. I think we are going to do just fine. So you know what? We even have another roster spot. So we're going to be able to draft another receiver. I didn't know that. I thought we were done at wide receiver. Oh, this is beautiful. Wow. Romeo Dubs off the clock at 178. I'm still betting on Christian Watson. I know Christian Watson is currently not getting any hype because Christian Watson not playing. I'm still betting on Christian Watson. You look at the team investment. You look at the dominance he displayed, while yes, at a small school in college, while yes, at an older age. The reason Christian Watson had to stay so long in college is because his junior season, football got pushed back to the spring due to COVID. His junior year, he had to play spring football. That's why Lance only had 1 year starting. So Christian Watson couldn't come to the NFL early. It's a massive red flag that he's this old, but it makes sense. He has really the only valid excuse out of any player as a rookie this year. But real quick, guys, if y'all want to see another draft after this, please go down there, fire up a like on the live stream. We have, I believe, 39 more likes to get another draft going. Let me pull up my phone so I can actually drop a like for myself. Yes, I do that. Please don't judge, guys. Don't judge. Okay. Now, Brian Robinson goes pick 180. This is a team that I think they punted running back. Yeah, their first running back was Kenneth Walker. So you definitely have to take 6 running backs. I think that Brian Robinson picked it for them is probably pretty strong. Okay, so now they are... What's the team at 10 that y'all really like? Let's go revisit the team at 10. I believe this team that got Kyle Pitts in the 4th, right? Yeah. So this team that got Kyle Pitts in the 4th, it started off Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon at running back, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sky Moore is their wide receiver 3. Love the value on Sky Moore. Julio Jones, I personally don't agree taking Julio here over Christian Watson. I mean, taking Michael Gallup over Christian Watson when you have Aaron Rodgers, that's where the draft got ruined for me. Like, besides the fact that I love the value of Watson here, if you're going to take Aaron Rodgers, you're betting that this Green Bay Packers offense is going to be pretty damn good. You don't have another piece in it. I think you have to take Christian Watson. Trevor Lawrence, 154. You're going to be fine value even if you don't have anybody in Jacksonville. Van Jefferson, I guess you go with a different rookie receiver drafted on day 3, however. And then Mark Ingram at 183. So I think the draft started off very strong, but it is what it is. Now, let's go through. And Isaiah McKenzie falling way further in this draft than previous. Austin Hooper goes 188. Good for us. We want to see these tight ends off the board. Take Taysom Hill. Take Austin Hooper. I don't give a damn what they're like. Now, I think at this point, we're locked into a receiver. We're locked into our last guy, whether that's going to be Isaiah McKenzie or Corey Davis. Y'all let me know in the live chat right now. Who do you want, Isaiah McKenzie or Corey Davis? We get them both falling to us. Isaiah McKenzie's currently, 26 picks past his ADP. Corey Davis is about 18 picks past his ADP. But let me know right now. Okay. Mark says Davis. We have Davis, McKenzie, Corey, McKenzie. Looks like most people are preferring Isaiah McKenzie. I still want to stand by the fact that I think if you're looking at Isaiah McKenzie being drafted before Jamison Crowder in some of these drafts, I personally prefer Crowder. I still think Jamison Crowder is the guy to have over Isaiah McKenzie, but pick 190. It's definitely worth the upside shot just in case he does win that slot job. Now, here we are exclusively running backs at this point. We just need 2 more running backs to round out this draft. We are about 5 likes away from firing up another draft here. So thank y'all, of course, so much for the support. Let's see if we get Mostert. See him as 5. They took Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if they stop at 5. They go Corey Davis, 193. This team on the clock has 6 running backs. They have Leonard Fournette, Antonio Gibson, Damian Harris, Rashad White, Tyler Algier, and Marlon Mack. So we'll take Mostert if he falls to us at 195. Yeah, David Bell goes. So let's take Raheem Mostert. And let's move on to our next draft. I'm going to queue up some running backs, of course. It's not like we're just going to leave this and then potentially auto a quarterback. That would be pretty detrimental. That would be an easy way to ruin one of the best drafts we've had on this live stream in a long, long time. Let's go ahead. Let's pull this back around. Let's hop into another one of these puppy drafts. And real quick, let me actually show y'all. If you are new to the live stream, of course, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy. They will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You can get into regular 12-team sit-and-go drafts where there's not tournaments. But I personally prefer the tournament drafts on Underdog, where this draft here is a $5 buy-in. It's $1 million prize pool, as you can see. Now, the rake's going to be 10%. That's how Underdog makes money. So they take 10% of every entry. So every $5 entry, Underdog's taking 50 cents. But first place and second place get paid in every 12-team league. And a small percentage of every league pot is set aside for the playoff tournament at the very end of the season, where there's $200,000 for first, $100,000 for second, $60,000 for third, $40,000 for fourth, all the way down off a $5 buy-in. So you have to draft for the highest ceiling possible. That's why, I get so damn excited whenever we are in a draft like we just were, and we're looking at it saying, hell, we have a fantastic team that has a ton of upside, because there's always a slight chance that we're walking away with the $200,000, but that chance is about that big, if I had to be accurate with it. Now, we get our least favorite pick in this draft. Now, Caden, I'm rooting for you. Caden's drafting next to us. San Diego's finest at pick 7. Caden is a big-time Los Angeles Chargers fan. My man, I don't want to take Austin Eckler. I don't want to do it to you. So we need to each send up a prayer that we have Jamar Chase falling to me at pick 6. That I get a Justin Jefferson falling to me at pick. That we get something else falling to me at pick 6 where I don't have to take Eckler from you. I probably still would go ahead. Probably still take Stephon Diggs and let you have Austin Eckler. Let you have your guy. But I would rather not to. I'd rather just get Jamar Chase at pick 6. Now, mullet thunting, I don't know how to say it. Mullet hunting. Go CMC. Jonathan Taylor immediately after. Come on. Someone sneak in Derrick Henry. Someone sneak in Austin Eckler. Now we got 2 picks left. Come on. Take Eckler. Take Henry. Take Dalvin. Take Najee. Take Diggs. They go Cup. Oh, come on. Let me repeat myself. Go. I hate pick 6, guys. I hate it. I hate it. I don't. F it. Let's go Diggs. I mean, this is what we've always been doing at pick 6. It's just such an awkward spot to be in. You're boxed out. Now, if I would say, if we were drafting in a league where you only have to start 2 running backs, you don't have to start 3 wide receivers, and these guys aren't going to get pushed up in the middle rounds, I 100% take Austin Eckler over Stephon Diggs. Y'all saw that in our rankings video today. However, it's just this league format on Underdog Fantasy where we have to go ahead, where we have to take Stephon Diggs here at pick 6. Caden is going to get his guy. He is going to get Austin Eckler at 7. But, oh, that is brutal. Damn Jody says, sorry, bro. I'm assuming Damn Jody is Damn Jody in this chat that decided to take Jamar Chase from us. My man, that is brutal. Let me look at that other draft we were with. I just got a notification we are on the clock. Let me see. We are going to be drafting Donta Foreman at running back. So, yeah, we are handcuffing CMC. I think it does give us a potential unique roster construction and sneaking a CMC team through. But regardless, very excited about that team. Now we got Derrick Henry making it all the way to pick 11. Najee Harris goes at 9. Like, y'all know I've been talking down on Derrick Henry when, of course, casual drafters are taking him as like a top 3 player, a top 5 player. I don't think you should take him in the top 5. I think anywhere after the top 5, fair game for Derrick Henry. It's one massive tier. But getting Derrick Henry at 11, you have to be so excited about that. I mean, that's a dream, but it does happen all the time on Underdog Fantasy. Like, Derrick Henry, I think has an ADP of like pick 9 or 10 at this point. So if you want to draft Derrick Henry, make sure you go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the live chat. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. And if you think Derrick Henry is a top 5 pick, you can draft him in almost every single one of these leagues. I can guarantee you that. And I would advocate, please join our drafts and take Derrick Henry inside the top 5. That way I can get a Jamar Chase falling to us next time. Okay. So now let's go ahead and find our next pick. Going Stephon Diggs. Swift has been falling. Like, we ended up getting Swift on a Justin Jefferson team earlier today. Andrews goes 17, so it looks like we are going to get one of Deandre Swift or Aaron Jones. I do have Aaron Jones ranked higher than Deandre Swift, but based off ADP, based on the fact that I have so much Aaron Jones, very little Deandre Swift. Some people think Swift should be pushed up to the late 1st, early 2nd. That's where we've seen him drafted in the drafts tonight on the live stream. I think we do go ahead. We take Deandre Swift at 19 if he is there for us. Caden on the clock. He goes Aaron Jones. Yeah, Caden's a part of the flock. Our rankings do have Aaron Jones higher than Swift. But if we're getting Swift 4 picks past his ADP, I think this is about fair value for him where he should be drafted. I mean, that's what I thought last year. Last year, I thought Deandre Swift should be a mid-second round pick. So I was calling him the best value in fantasy when you're getting him in the middle of the 3rd. Now, I know everybody else thinks he's the best value in fantasy when you're getting him at the end of the 1st, the beginning of the 2nd. I can't quite get there, but pick 19. Hell, it's a fair price point. I'll be happy to take Deandre Swift. Evans goes directly after pick 20. Mike Evans has been falling with Julio Jones signing. Not going to be too surprised to see more Mike Evans at pick 24, pick 25. And let me go back and explain why we decided to go Stephon Diggs there over Austin Eckler. Yes, I have Austin Eckler ranked as our third running back in fantasy, but it just comes down to these underdog draft boards where you're going to see these running backs devalued, running backs pushed down boards a little bit later on, where you can get Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you can get Antonio Gibson in the 8th round, you can get Elijah Mitchell in the 6th, whereas the wide receivers in that range aren't going to be great. I mean, you have friggin' Allen Lazard being drafted before someone like Antonio Gibson, before Clyde Edwards-Helaire in every single draft. So I'm going to prefer taking the Diggs value and reaching on him in round 1 so we can take advantage of the running back value a little bit later. Okay. Now, Keenan Allen goes pick 29. When you take Stephon Diggs round 1, there's only one thing you can do. The one thing is Josh Allen in the 3rd. I used to be excited when we would get the Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen stack. Now I'll admit, at this point, I'm not nearly as enthusiastic on it as I once was. And the reason is you used to have Patrick Mahomes as an early 4th round pick. Now, when Patrick Mahomes goes to pick 54 all the time, we're able to get Mahomes in the middle of the 5th. I don't like the value of Josh Allen in the middle of the 3rd as much, just because it is so compelling to just wait for 5th round Mahomes, 5th round Lamar. But hopefully, Caden ends up going Justin Herbert. I'm imagining he's going to go Herbert. Obviously, Caden, a Chargers fan. He gets his guy Eckler in the 1st. He gets Mike Evans in the 3rd. Now, Travis Etienne goes to No Soup for You, a member of the flock, at pick 32. My man, you have to give me your explanation on this Etienne hype. I was there before the James Robinson news, as I've said a million times over the past week. Let me know why you're still drafting Etienne at pick 32. Mark says, favorite stacks in fantasy. If I'm looking at price with these stacks, I think if we're going over to New Orleans, this was easily my most drafted stack, easily my favorite stack when you were getting Jameis Winston as a low-end quarterback 2, and you were getting Michael Thomas in the 8th round. Now, that's going to be specific for Superflex formats and best ball, like on Underdog Fantasy. Because on Underdog Fantasy, it's going to matter to draft a 2nd quarterback. It's going to matter to draft a 3rd quarterback because the best ball environment. However, in your casual redraft format, if it's a 1-quarterback league and it's a 12-team format, you don't need to draft Jameis Winston. You don't even need to draft a 2nd quarterback. Of course, that 2nd guy you can just go ahead and stream. So in terms of the top 12 quarterbacks and looking at those stacking options, some of my favorite options are going to be a Patrick Mahomes and a Sky Moore. A Patrick Mahomes and a Kelsey. I love the Kansas City Chiefs stacks this upcoming season. I think the Chiefs do not see a dip down with their overall passing volume despite the departure of Tyreek Hill. And I think the price point is very obtainable for pretty much everybody there. The only guy that I don't love the price point of is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. Okay. So now we have James Conner going pick 39. I would have loved to have James Conner fall to us in the 4th round. Now, Antle Rice has taken 3 running backs in a row. They've gone Najee, Saquon Barkley, and Ezekiel Elliott through the first 3 rounds. See if they decide to take Breece Hall with a true hyper-fragile build. They go Deontay Johnson, pick 40. Y'all know I love me some Deontay Johnson at this price point. No Soup for You on the clock. They have also not taken a wide receiver so far. They have Dalvin Cook, Travis Etienne, and Mark Andrews. Where did they decide to take this? They go Justin Herbert at pick 41, sniping Caden. Why are they taking Herbert there if they don't have a Los Angeles Charger? Like, I've taken Herbert whenever I don't have one of those top Charger stacking options. If I don't have Eckler, if I don't have Mike Williams, if I don't have Keenan Allen, I'll still take Herbert, but he needs to be round 5. I need to get him at an actual value. I'm not reaching on Herbert if I don't have a stack. Now here I think it's an easy selection. What, we go ahead, we take Terry McLaurin. We get a 2nd wide receiver here. Trust me, I love grabbing those elite level quarterbacks, but Patrick Mahomes is already my most drafted player. We've already talked about this a million times now. I'm able to get him at pick 54 in almost every other draft, so there's no reason for me to ever reach on him at pick 43. Caesar says, just got in and dropped a like, fixed my life again. Thank you, my man. And looks like we are about to pass 550 likes on the stream. If you have not gone down there and dropped a like on the stream, make sure you fix your life and also subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We do these drafts every single night on Underdog Fantasy on this live stream because it is so much fun. And we're probably going to be fired up 3, 4, 5 drafts every single night going forward, 3 to 4 hour live streams. So subscribe, go click the link in the live chat, go join Underdog Fantasy to have some fun, to get in these drafts with us. And yeah, be prepared to get smacked by yours truly. But Josh Allen, pick 30. I forgot that we even taken Josh Allen on this team, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I don't know why I was even considering or talking out loud about the possibility of going round 5 Patrick Mahomes. I don't even think we could go Patrick Mahomes pick 54 if he would have fallen to us. So the team at 1 decides to go Mahomes and Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju is like the one guy that I don't love the price point of in Kansas City. DeClan says, gonna hit 1,000 likes again on the live stream. Maybe not. I think we could have if we didn't have Wi-Fi issues at the very beginning of the stream. I had Wi-Fi issues and had to shut down the first draft, start up another live stream. Pain in the ass. YouTube kills us in the algorithm when we do that. So we're probably not going to hit 1,000 likes in this live stream, even though it would be really cool. Now, I understand we have not drafted a lot of Gabriel Davis. I'm never taking Gabriel Davis in the 4th. Like, we passed on Gabriel Davis for Terry McLaurin, despite having Josh Allen on this team. But the one time you take Gabriel Davis is if he falls 11 picks past his ADP on a Josh Allen team where you can get the Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs double stack. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take either Gabriel Davis or Brandon Cooks here. Montgomery's off the board. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. It's going to be one of the only drafts you see us take Gabriel Davis. We're taking him here at pick 54. I don't even have him ranked this high, but hell, I mean, he fell 11 picks past his ADP. We have Josh Allen. We're getting the double stack here. We're betting on this being an electric offense, a dynamic offense. And so far, I think we have a pretty good team. Like, I can realistically put my bias aside, put the fact that I hate the ADP of Gabriel Davis aside to say I'm going to be very excited to draft him. 11 picks behind that ADP on a Josh Allen team. Will says 1% of Gabriel Davis shares. I probably legitimately only have 1% of Gabriel Davis. Like, let me go through and look at my ownership percentage. If y'all don't know real quick how to look at your ownership percentages on Underdog Fantasy, go to the app, go to drafts. Of course, that's where you're always at. And then look 2 tabs over the top. It says completed. Then you can scroll past your drafts. And at the very bottom, there's going to be 2022 season. You click exposure, and Underdog Fantasy breaks it down for you in terms of the percentage that you've drafted said player and the amount of buy-ins that you had with that one player. And here we can search for Gabriel Davis. Gabe Davis. Is it Gabriel Davis, or did he change his name to Gabe Davis? It's Gabe Davis on Underdog. I thought it's Gabriel Davis, right? Is this a Kenneth Walker, Ken Walker type situation? I have 2% Gabe Davis. And maybe we have 3% Gabe Davis now. We probably still only have 2%. Okay, so Jalen Hurts goes 61. I think we're probably going to look to take a running back on the way back around if we have Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs. If we don't have one of these guys, I'm not really taking A.J. Dillon in this range. I would prefer to take one of these wide receivers. So this is going to be our top Q. Let's see what ends up falling. Antle Rice, this is the team that went 3 running backs in a row at the very beginning. They took Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. They go with their 4th running back. They take Josh Jacobs there. Michael Thomas off the board. Caden on the clock. Let's see what he decides to do. I'm fine if he gives us a receiver. I'm fine if he gives us Elijah Mitchell. Caden has Lamar Jackson, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks. He goes Elijah Mitchell. Who do we want at receiver here? Let's go Elijah Moore. I feel like if anybody's going to get steamed up this offseason, it's going to be the younger wide receiver that demonstrated an elite ceiling in the second half of this past season. Obviously, as a 21-year-old rookie, that's when you're expecting him to have that elite level breakout. And we have not done this all live stream, but let me go ahead and let me pull up my 2022 fantasy football draft guide, because I have a very fun stat on Elijah Moore. And if you don't know, if you do, go and sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK. You do get our draft guide with a minimum of a $10 deposit, and it will be sent to your email. So please just sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK, make it $10 deposit, and then check your email in about 1 to 2 hours. And if you do not see it there, that means it was sent to your spam, and check your spam. But let me look up Elijah Moore. With Elijah Moore, it's a crazy stat. But if we're looking at specifically, where do I find this? The second half of the season. So we're taking out weeks 1 through 8. We're just looking at the second half of the season. Elijah Moore averaged 18.9 fantasy points per game in the second half of the season. Among all wide receivers that played a minimum of 5 games, the only wide receivers to average more points during that time than Elijah Moore: Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Justin Jefferson. Like, I'm fine taking Elijah Moore at this price point. I'm definitely going to be taking him over A.J. Dillon. Okay, Christian Kirk goes to 173. Kadarius Toney goes 176 as well. Pretty early for those guys to be going over Devonta Smith and DeAndre Hopkins. Antonio Gibson off the board. If we're looking at quarterbacks in this range, I'm not too interested in any of these guys. If I were to break this down, we're probably going to go Hopkins at the top, Sanders after that, and then if we don't get either of these players, maybe we panic and go quarterback. Mr. Cali Pappy on the clock. They've had a very standard draft so far. It looks like they're just following ADP. What do they do? They go Hopkins. Are they on auto draft? It seems like they're just taking the best player available according to ADP every single pick. Yeah, we're going to go and take Miles Sanders here. I understand Allen Lazard, best player available according to... I can't do it. I'm not taking Lazard. When we take Josh Allen in the third, I think it is going to be difficult for us to go ahead and for us to take another elite level quarterback here. We only have one running back in Deandre Swift. I understand if you're looking at Miles Sanders, yes, he's not guaranteed to be the full-time 3-down running back in Philadelphia. If that was going to be the case, he'd be drafted significantly before here. But this is a running back playing behind the league's best offensive line. This is a running back that does have some receiving down upside. Man, this is a running back we're getting in the middle of the 7th round at pick 78. So with all those factors, I'm going to be fine investing into him at this price. Roy says, how do I get the draft guide if I've already signed up for Underdog? If you've already signed up for Underdog, you can just go to flockfantasy.com. Flockfantasy.com. It'll be in the description of the live stream. And also at the same time, I just sent it out in the live chat. Okay, so we have Rashad Penny, Allen Lazard, Clyde Edwards-Helaire all going off the board. Happy to see Lazard go. I mean, if Allen Lazard were to fall to us a big 91, if we're getting Allen Lazard like 16 picks past his ADP, we'd probably go ahead and we'd probably take him. But I'm just willing to take the L. Like, if Allen Lazard were to go out there and Allen Lazard were to turn into a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy, I'll take the L. I'll move on. I'll be fine with my life. I right now have 3% Allen Lazard. I probably haven't drafted Allen Lazard in the past 6 weeks just because his price point has been ridiculous. Back in the day, it wasn't that bad. Okay, so Tony Pollard goes at pick 84. Looks like we may have some quarterbacks falling to us. I don't want to queue up exactly how we would do this. I know we have a couple people before us watching the live stream. So let's not say much. I mean, right now, quarterback, we have Allen. A running back, we have DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders. Wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Gabriel Davis, and Elijah Moore. Maybe this team, I really like the idea from now on, when we take an elite level quarterback like Allen's, still drafting 3 of them, but just waiting until like the last 2 rounds. Like taking Carson Wentz round 18 and taking like Zach Wilson round 16. Now Dak Prescott goes 88. No soup for you on the clock. I'd imagine, I don't want to say it out loud. Let's not say anything out loud. Ayuk goes. I was going to say there's no way we get Ayuk because Caden ended up taking Trey Lance, and I think Caden would have taken Ayuk when he only had 2 wide receivers going into this pick. Now, where would we even go? He goes Olave. Thank God we get TJ Hawkinson here. If Hawkinson didn't make it to us, I was probably going to panic. I was probably going to do something very stupid. But taking Hawkinson does give us a tight end that I want to believe has access to an elite level ceiling. Hawkinson is going into his final year of his rookie contract, and Hawkinson is a tight end that is back-to-back seasons as the tight end 6 on a points per game basis in Detroit. Going back to what we were talking about, I like the idea of just taking 2 quarterbacks at the very end of the drafts. Maybe we go round 17, Jared Goff, round 18, Carson Wentz. So we can get the double stack in there with TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, and then get the stack with Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin. Anthony says, could have waited for Dawson Knox for the Bills stack. We already have a double stack with the Bills. I don't think we need to continue to add Buffalo Bills when we had Stephon Diggs as well as Gabriel Davis to this team. Like, realistically speaking, week 17 in that massive playoff tournament, how do we get there with the best scoring lineup across the entire contest, across the, 150 teams that are going to be there, if 4 out of 8 of our starters are going to be from one NFL offense? It seems impossible. Unless the Buffalo Bills put up 60 points that week. Antler Eyes says, my 4th draft with you, bud. Trying some running backs early. Let's see how this goes. Thank you so much. And I remember you drafting with us a ton last year on the stream. I don't recognize the name from this season, but my brain's broken. We've done what? 400 drafts at this point. Not all of them have been on the live stream. The majority of them actually have not been on the live stream, but still. We've been drafting nonstop. I apologize if I do not recognize you from any drafts this year. Definitely know the name, though. Okay, so Dallas Goddard goes pick 100. What team took Brady? The team that took Brady ended up going Kareem Hunt. I'd go Kareem Hunt over Russell Gage, even if I had Brady as well. Okay, damn Jody on the clock. They are in the live stream right now. They decide to go Tyler Lockett. Spam the chat. Do you want Russell Gage or Robert Woods? I'm not taking a Buffalo player when we already have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis. I love building correlation in. I was ecstatic to get the double stack there with Gabriel Davis. But as I said, when the opportunity cost is a pick inside the top 100, I think at one point we probably got to pump the brakes just a little bit. Okay. Looks like we have Gage, Woods. Looks like people don't really have a strong opinion on these two receivers. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Russell Gage. After we take Russell Gage, of course, now we get every single message saying Robert Woods. But yeah, Robert Woods goes directly after us to Caden. Maybe we just helped out Caden in this draft, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out. We'll pivot. I definitely have drafted significantly more Robert Woods so far this year than Russell Gage based on their price points. But dear God, yeah, everybody in the chat wants Robert Woods. But I still stand by the fact that I do think Russell Gage, and keep in mind, I was not drafting Gage at all in the 6th round. We were saying Russell Gage was a bad pick in the 6th round. But I stand by the fact that Russell Gage in his $30 million contract should be the wide receiver 3 in Tampa this upcoming season and one of the most prolific passing offenses in the NFL. If I look at how much Russell Gage I have 5% Russell Gage. I can see this here. If I look at how much Woods I have 10% Robert Woods. So we have exactly double the amount of Robert Woods than Russell Gage so far. So maybe we make the excuse we're diversifying a little bit, but it is what it is. So now we have a couple tight ends going here with Dawson Knox and Zach Ertz. Melvin Gordon goes 108. At this point, we probably want a running back making it back to us. I mean, in terms of quarterbacks, we'd be interested in this range. I'm not taking Rodgers here. I'm not taking Cousins here. I have no reason to. Rondale Moore goes off the board. I think this is no, it's not even to the Kyler Murray team. Why are you taking Rondale Moore there? Taking Rondale Moore before Claypool and Garrett Wilson? Are people really concerned about the speeding ticket that Hollywood Brown had? I said this last night in the live stream. I think it's literally nothing. I think it's a non-story in terms of fantasy football value. Jalen Tolbert goes off the board to pick 111. Antler Ice back up on the clock. They took Dak. So do they take... No, Jalen Tolbert's already off the board. Where's Gallup's ADP? Gallup ADP of 133, and Jalen Tolbert just went off the board at 111. God, I feel like I'm an old man. Some of these rookies. Like, we're going to take a 2nd round running back that has a profile of someone that is almost historically guaranteed to be drafted as a top 24 running back their rookie season. Obviously, we're getting a massive discount based on the horrible situation he's in. But we are taking a 2nd round NFL drafted running back with an elite athletic profile behind a 3rd round rookie receiver out of South Alabama. Garrett Wilson was drafted behind Jalen Tolbert. Please, ladies and gentlemen. very rarely am I willing to say things with certainty because I'm the first person to admit that I'm an idiot. But even this idiot knows. I have a small hunch that Jalen Tolbert is going to have a very, and I repeat, a very difficult time returning value on that price point. To take Tolbert over Garrett Wilson, like, it feels like you're breaking a law in fantasy football. Like, feels like you make that selection and someone should be there at your door to break it down to arrest you. Now, Justin Fields goes 119. Let's move this down. Rashad White still on the clock. Kenny Galladay, Mecole Hardman. Honestly, I feel good about getting Kenneth Walker there. We definitely we're going to need another running back. I think we can draft 6 running backs if we were to want to on this team. Like, we're pretty good at quarterback, I would say, with Josh Allen. Solid at tight end with TJ Hawkinson. Wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Gabriel Davis for the double stack in Buffalo. Elijah Moore, Russell Gage. We're good at wide receiver. I think it's a very balanced team overall. I don't even know what we would want. I mean, if we're looking at this upcoming pick, maybe we could end up taking like a Julio Jones. I'm not taking Irv Smith Jr. here, but taking a Julio Jones and making a correlated bet in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers passing offense. Maybe if Evans were to go down, if Godwin were to go down, all of a sudden Julio Jones is a league-winning player. But no, Julio goes at 123. Galladay, 124. Hardman's not a pick that I love in this range. The reason Mecole Hardman has an ADP here is just simply because Patrick Mahomes teams have to take him. I feel like if we don't have Patrick Mahomes, I'm not that excited about taking Mecole Hardman. I don't really like the idea of taking Irv Smith Jr. or Cole Kmet either at this price point. Let me see how much Mecole Hardman I have versus Devontae Parker. If I were to pass on Mecole Hardman, it's going to be for Devontae Parker. Not excited about Dameon Pierce. Hardman, we have 12%. Parker, we have 7%. Well, let's go ahead. Let's take Devontae Parker. I think we're going to be in a situation so many drafts where we take Patrick Mahomes in the 5th, and then we just have to go ahead. We have to take Mecole Hardman in the 11th. Like, we almost don't even have a choice. So when we do have a choice, let's choose to mix it up a little bit. I think there are 2 guys in a similar tier. Let's go to Devontae Parker, 126. Jack from the V2 says, who should I take? Mecole Hardman, Christian Watson, or Julio Jones? Were you just on the clock here? I would say, personally, I'm probably going to go Christian Watson out of that group. Eric coming in to the live stream drunk. Of course, Eric, thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Happy for you to come out very often to this live stream, out in the premieres, out in the comment section. Definitely a member of the flock for a very long time now. Thank you, my dude. Now, we have Brandon coming out. Says, what are your thoughts on Sky Moore? Sky Moore broke out as a true freshman at 18 years old at Western Michigan. This was an offense that also had Dwayne Eskridge in it. Sky Moore dominated with with over a 40% dominator rating his final season there, his junior year at Western Michigan. He declares early for the NFL draft. So he was dominant his final season. He broke out at 18 years old. He declares early for the NFL draft. He was athletic at the NFL Combine. And he gets drafted in the 2nd round. He checks every single box you would look from a rookie wide receiver. Definitely exciting. Definitely an exciting landing spot. Sky Moore used to go in the 7th round in these drafts, which I thought that was a little bit rich, but that was just because all these rookies were being overdrafted right after the NFL draft. But getting Sky Moore at this price point where he goes to the beginning of the 9th, where he goes behind guys like MVS, Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Treylon Burks, I think it's a fair price point for Sky Moore. Okay, so Joshua Palmer goes 133. What are we looking for on the way back around? I mean, if Irv Smith Jr. were to make it back to us on the way back around, we do go ahead. We take Irv Smith Jr. I really do like Michael Gallup at this price point as well. Gallup goes off the board, pick 134. Irv Smith Jr. goes 135. Osborne. So it looks like the wide receiver tier is about to run out as well. If we were to take a Cleveland Brown, if we were to have taken a Cleveland Brown a little bit earlier than this, maybe we could have gone Watson. Caden on the clock. See what he does. He goes Freiermuth. Crap. I was wanting Freiermuth. Okay, let's think through this. We have 6 receivers. Probably want another running back, but we can get a running back on the way back around that we like. Tight ends, on the other hand, I do think these guys are going to fall out of a range of players I'm being interested in. So let's take Gesicki. I think if you're looking at this group of tight ends, this is about where they should go. I mean, you have Irv Smith Jr., you have Cole Kmet falling dramatically in this overall draft where Irv Smith Jr. goes pick 135, Cole Kmet goes pick 130. We reach on Gesicki here a little bit. I'm completely fine with these tight ends going off in this order with Cole Kmet and Irv Smith Jr. going before Pat Freiermuth and Mike Gesicki. But I definitely think this tier of guys is a lot closer than people are giving credit for that ADP would indicate. And I think they should be drafted relatively close like they were in this draft. I think this is, in my opinion, a good example of how these tight ends should be valued. Okay. So now we have Hunter Henry pick 142, James Robinson 143. I will want a running back on the way back around, but there were a lot of those running backs like Kenneth Gainwell, like Michael Carter, that I really do like. That'd be fine getting a pick 150. And outside of that, maybe we go back-to-back drafts. We get Jamison Williams. We have currently TJ Hawkinson as well as Deandre Swift. So we'd be getting our third Detroit line. We definitely have to pick up Jared Goff at the very end. Gerald Everett goes 145. Good for us because once we take Mike Gesicki there to pair up with Hawkinson, we're probably done at the tight end position. Let's see. I wonder if Watson goes. Realistically, please let me know in the live chat. Like I said, I'm not smart enough to know. I know probably people in the live chat, nobody in this planet's probably smart enough to know, but I would love to know your educated guesses. How many games does Deshaun Watson play this season? How many games does Deshaun Watson play this season? Very simple question. Okay, Rock says we have 10, 0, 0, 17. How the hell does he play 17, my friend? 0, 4. I feel like a 13-game suspension would be a little bit weird. 8, 0. Drink Gatorade, just spam and 0. 0, 11, 6, either 11 or 0. Honestly, I like that call. I think it's either 11 or 0. My opinion, that's exactly what I would say as well. But I'm just a clown in a suit behind a microphone. Of course, I have no idea. So Tyler Allgeier's gone. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Nyheim Hines. I mean, Nyheim Hines is a player way more interesting in best ball where you don't have to predict when he's going to have that random week where he goes off and just catches 2 touchdowns. Of course, the issue with taking Nyheim Hines in a regular fantasy football format compared to some other backup running backs, say a player like Alexander Mattison, for example, is while Nyheim Hines maybe outscores Alexander Mattison from a median projection standpoint, you know exactly when to start Alexander Mattison. You know when you need to put him in your starting lineup. It's very simple. If Dalvin Cook's healthy, Alexander Madison's on your bench. If Dalvin Cook is out, Alexander Madison's a running back one you put into your starting lineup. It's not that simple in figuring out when exactly we need to go ahead and we need to draft Nyheim Hines, but at the same time, pick 150 in a best ball league where we need another running back. I think it's going to be fine. Okay, so Rock says next draft happening, Mason, question mark. How about this? It's about to be, it's like 12:30 Eastern right now. If we get 700 likes in the live stream, we will fire up another draft after this one. I think this is our 4th draft on the live stream if you include the one that got shut off due to the Wi-Fi. So if we get 700 likes on the stream, we will fire up another one. Ordier says, Mason, is there anything you're looking for in the preseason running back usage? I think it's going to be the preseason's the most important to figure out how depth charts are going to be past the starting running back on a lot of rosters. So Deshaun Watson goes pick 155, finally off the board. If we didn't take Josh Allen here, I would have been very interested in taking Deshaun Watson. Maybe we should have just taken Watson given the format that we were playing in. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Tyrion Davis-Price off the board at 157. If Winston were to fall, do we have any New Orleans Saints? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, quarterbacks that we can look at the very end of this draft, there are so damn many that are going to be intriguing. I mean, we have the stack there with Mac Jones and Devontae Parker. We could end up going Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore. We could end up going Jared Goff, TJ Hawkinson, and Deandre Swift. So because there's so many stacking options, I'm not going to be interested in Matt Ryan or Daniel Jones here. If I would have to pick one of these quarterbacks in a vacuum, I definitely think Daniel Jones is the better value with this pick over Matt Ryan. Neither of these running backs are too appealing for me, so we are going to go ahead. We're going to take Nico Collins. Let's take Nico Collins, and let's think through this. How many more picks do we have? We have 4 more picks. I say we go one more running back. Crap. We're probably not going to draft another. We're not going to draft 3 quarterbacks. I wanted to. I'm going to get cute with it. But the thing is, this wide receiver core is not good enough to get away with only drafting 7. We have to draft 8 wide receivers. We have Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Gabriel Davis, Elijah Moore, Russell Gage, Devontae Parker, Nico Collins. Like, we have to go ahead. We have to draft another wide receiver after this. Running back, this running back core is not strong enough to not draft 5. We have Deandre Swift, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Walker, Nyheim Hines. Obviously, we need another running back. Possibly we need 2 more running backs. Let's see what kind of running back value we get falling to us. This is probably going to be a league where we draft 6 of them. Maybe if we don't like the value, we only draft 5, and that's how we end up getting our 3rd QB. Okay, so Matt Ryan's off the board. Daniel Jones still available. If Daniel Jones fell to us 174, I don't know if we can even take Daniel Jones at that point. I mean, maybe we go Daniel Jones. The issue is we wouldn't get Wan'Dale Robinson on the way back around. Yeah, we would have no shot at anybody for the Giants. Like, if we could have taken Daniel Jones the last round and then get Wan'Dale, pick 174, then maybe that could have been intriguing. But I think Daniel Jones just isn't in play here. And I love this Robert Tonyan value. Like, I almost want to go 3 tight ends. We shouldn't have taken Hawkinson. But if we would have taken a running back instead of Hawkinson, who would have that have been? We take Hawkinson at 91. The next running backs off the board are Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Kareem Hunt. I would honestly prefer taking Kareem Hunt over those New England running backs. So if we were going to take a running back, we would have taken Hunt. I don't know if I can take Hunt over Hawkinson. And guys, real quick, we are 60 likes away from firing up another draft. If y'all want to see another draft, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We need to promote this more, but if we hit 90,000 subscribers before the season starts, we're going to do a 24-hour draft marathon, which should be very exciting. I think that would be exciting. Now, Noah Fant goes pick 169. Corey Davis, 170. Robert Tonyan, 171. Love that Robert Tonyan value. Oh, dear God. That is fantastic value. I love the Tonyan value. I love the Higbee value. Let's think through this. Mac Jones isn't going to be someone that we take here. I think that we can just get Zach Wilson in the 16th, so it doesn't matter. Gus Edwards is a much harder pick to sell, considering the fact that we had the report saying he's behind J.K. Dobbins with his rehab, which is, of course, a horrendous sign. Tyler Higbee goes 172. Damn, Jody just gets sniped on all these tight ends. A tight end, they have Dalton Schultz. I mean, they're not desperate for another tight end. I think we'd be fine going Jamal Williams, monopolizing every single touch in that Detroit Lions backfield. They go Darrell Williams. Yeah, we're going to go Jamal Williams. I'm not taking Gus Edwards after the report. If we're looking at running backs that are also intriguing, I mean, maybe you could convince me to go with the Brian Robinson. But now we definitely need to draft Jared Goff. Like, based on how we've drafted this team with this many Detroit Lions, like, the only way this team's good is if Jared Goff somehow manages to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL when it comes to passing yards. Jared Goff's not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards. This team's probably complete dust. Scroll this down. We're going to have 3 picks left. Let's go. Minimum 1 wide receiver, minimum 1 quarterback, and then we'll figure it out from there. I think it's so tough. So tough. We have Sean says, I'm at pick 3. What are you thinking of the draft? Let's go through. Let's check out Sean's draft so far. So pick 3. Sean is going to be Popat, 95. Jefferson at 3. Interesting. Like I said, I think there's now a possibility that Jefferson is the correct pick at 3 with the report that we have of Matthew Stafford's elbow. Leonard Fournette at pick 22. Michael Pittman, 27. Personally, I can't take Michael Pittman over Alvin Kamara. Allen Robinson goes 46. DK Metcalf, 51. I would personally take an elite level tight end there. Adam Thielen goes 70. Really like the Adam Thielen pick. I would probably go DeAndre Hopkins over Antonio Gibson, but I understand why you did it. Like, this is what I'm looking at. The combination of Michael Pittman and Antonio Gibson versus Alvin Kamara and DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe I'm just overrating name appeal and name value, but I'm, in my opinion, easily leaning with the DeAndre Hopkins and Alvin Kamara side over Michael Pittman and Antonio Gibson. Then Brady at 94, great value with Brady, and you're getting the stack there with Leonard Fournette, who obviously should have a role in the receiving game. Love the Kareem Hunt selection, 99. Isaiah Spiller, 188 is interesting. I think maybe I'll try to get cute with it and grab a Rashad White. Julio Jones, 123. It's a fine pick whenever you have Tom Brady. Hunter Henry, 142. I think going back and looking at the tight end value that you had at the 14-15 turn, maybe that Hunter Henry selection doesn't look great in hindsight, but you can't know that tight end's going to fall that far with the value that you're getting. So beyond this, I like the team. I think the one thing I change is I go Kamara over Pittman. It's a pretty big thing, but that's the main thing I'm going to change. Okay, so Tannehill goes 185. So we're going to take Mac Jones. Mac Jones was one of the quarterbacks that we had access to. I mean, we went ahead. We drafted Devontae Parker. So we're going to get some correlation in here. We're going to get Mac Jones behind ADP as well. Obviously, Buffalo's going to play New England twice. Maybe we get some random spike weeks. We'll figure it out. And then after this, do we need another running back? Swift, Sanders, Kenneth Walker, Naheem Hines, Jamal Williams. We went 19, 78, 115, 150, 174. I think we probably go one more running back, one receiver. Let's go one running back, one receiver. Scroll this down. Jerick McKinnon's off the board. McKinnon would have been one of these running backs that I would have been excited about at the very end of drafts, but now we can no longer do it. Is Taysom Hill, did we have any report with Hill? Like, is Taysom Hill back in practice? Because last I heard, Taysom Hill had the injury and it was reported that he was going to miss a significant amount of time. Please let me know in the live chat ASAP. Is Taysom Hill good to go? Let's pull this back around. Wide receivers we could be looking at. Not too many of these guys stand out. I don't really love Raheem Mostert. Dearness Johnson off the board. Zach Wilson gone. Zach Wilson was also one of those quarterbacks we were looking at because we took Elijah Moore, but at this point, I don't think that we're that interested. Damn Jody on the clock. They have 6 running backs, 6 receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 quarterbacks. Okay, so everybody's saying Taysom Hill's back. Okay, good thing that we know that now. Now that I know Taysom Hill is draftable, I was worried because the report literally said nothing. It just said Taysom Hill is going to miss a lot of time. So I was like, oh, well, crap. Taysom Hill probably needs to be at practice. He's a very specific role that needs to fit into. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Sammy Watkins here at pick 198. Probably look to get a running back in the last round, but we'll figure it out. Now, which running back would we be excited about? Caden going with the backup tight end in Denver. I'm not getting behind that hype. If I'm having to draft a rookie tight end, I understand. Obviously, he is the backup. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to draft Trey McBride in the last round if I have to draft a rookie tight end. Like, especially because with Greg Dulcich, this is a tight end that a lot of other people are drafting, so he is going to be owned in this contest. Where if he does break out, like, it's not like you're just the only person benefiting from it. We're like, nobody's taking McBride. Not a single soul. Odeer says, Mason, my name is pronounced Odeer. You'll be seeing me on almost every live stream this season. Thank you for clarifying. And yes, y'all can probably tell by now. If you see me trying to read your YouTube chat names, trying to read your underdog names, I am an idiot. If I say your name right, I'm sorry, wrong, please let me know in the live chat how I'm supposed to say it going forward. That way I don't just continue to embarrass myself time and time again. But at this point, would we go Mark Ingram? It's the last round of the draft. I usually take Donta Foreman here instead. Our initial plan, if I was confident with the running backs that we were going to have, is going to be to go ahead, take a third quarterback, get Carson Wentz. Baker Mayfield goes 208. See what these teams. No soup for you on the clock. Spam the chat right now. If we have the chance, do we go Mark Ingram or Donta Foreman? Sony Michel would be the other running back I'm looking at. I'm not too excited by Kenyon Drake. I'm also fine with Hassan Haskins. Spam the chat. What running back do you want here? Derek says Justin Jackson. No. Well, let's cool it. Hopefully, for the sake of this team, Justin Jackson is legitimately nothing. Okay, everybody's saying Donta Foreman. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Donta Foreman. And that looks like it's it. Looks like we did not hit 700 likes on the stream. So we'll probably end it here. It's about to be 1 a.m. on the East Coast. But thank you guys. I really do appreciate y'all. And I got great news for you. We are going to be live every single night going forward. We had 4 drafts tonight, if you include the one that got shut down a little bit early. So make sure you go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you know when we're live. And also, if you want to draft with us, go to the link in the live chat, go to the link in the description of the video. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Get our 2022 rankings. Get our 2022 draft guide with legitimately just a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy. So please take advantage of that. That's all I got for you. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a great night and hope we get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.